All right, we're live. We're live. All right, what's up, my good peoples? This is Lucky Reacts, but this is a different. Technically, this is not even Lucky Reacts. This is. I don't want to introduce it as like a corny new series thing, but I
Lucky
had this idea.
interacts.
Right, right. I had a idea that I was going to do. I'm still doing actually with my good friend Hayne, which I just went live with last Sunday. Where I'm going to do recaps of like so at the beginning of every month I'm going to do a theme with how I just did Women in Metal. I had Pop Week. I'm sorry, Punk Week. Pop Week is crazy, but I had Punk Week a couple of weeks before, and me and my friend Hayne we're going to do a recap of that week after that week, obviously, that Sunday after those weeks. So, but she had an idea where instead of just doing that every Sunday, why don't I do a live stream where I just talk to different people, various people, guests, whoever, and just talk metal. And I thought that was a better idea. Not a better idea. I thought that was a better idea to do more on every Sunday and then have the recaps with her. Just do them on the specific first week theme part. Anyway, so this is the I want to call Teach Me Metal. I'm always being that I feel like I just got here. I'm always learning. I always want to learn more about this genre that I've just dove into head first and found myself loving it here. Right, I'm kicked back. I got my feet kicked up. I got a nice coffee in my hand. I'm kind of enjoying the scenery, but also I want to know all the things. And I understand that I'm not going to learn all these things in a matter of months. Right, we're talking 60, 70 years of history. Right, of a specific genre that's broken off into many genres. And but I think the exciting part is while I'm here, I get to talk to people like yourself, and meet new friends and community members and artists, musicians, and just talk metal. And then from those conversations, I can learn all the things, right? So I have a friend here, my new friend Paul. Paul, what's up, man? Good to have you here.
Yes. Great to be here,
Oh,
man.
Paul, when I say new friend, I mean literally new friend, new friend. Paul and I met on Instagram, um, and we just had a quick conversation about what how did that start to you, Paul? How did you see it?
I had basically sent you an essay like, hey, I really mess with your channel. And I feel like I felt like I was in a similar position to you because I've been like a metal rock fan my whole life. But in 2016, like hip hop like entered my world. My world opened up, and I felt like I was in the same position. Like I have so much to learn. Oh, I had so many misconceptions of it, and I just felt like a kinship to that. And so I felt like we could fill each other's gaps in that way and have a really interesting conversation.
Cool. And I think for me, I've been getting a lot of like DMs lately, emails. Um, it's kind of crazy how through ciphering through different messages, I just felt like that was a real genuine. We just started. It was a real genuine, cool conversation, a real genuine approach, and also to your point, I'm glad you mentioned that. That was kind of like a parallel way that we kind of when you found hip hop, I'm getting into metal. It's kind of our lives were parallel but flipped, right? I come from hip hop and I was raised in hip hop and I feel like I know everything there is to know about hip hop in a sense. But and then I find metal and I'm like, oh whoa, this is crazy. And I thought we could have had a great conversation about that also because though this is a metal channel, I don't talk about hip hop much, other than me being this hip hop guy who's finding these different songs and bands. But I don't necessarily dive into it as much and then talk about the comparisons or parallels between hip hop and metal, which
I
there's so
think
many of.
you should not hesitate to explore that because I there are a lot of parallels between metal and hip hop.
100%.
There's so much there, and there's a bridge there that I think that people aren't aware of, and I think that's you should never hesitate to talk about that because I'll come
For sure.
I'll come across like people that are metalheads that are just like they're very judgmental, or they just think that there's nothing in hip hop for them. And I'm like, bro, just like metal has so many different sounds. Oh, sorry, I hit
Yeah,
the mic. Sounds and subgenres. Hip hop's the same way. There is a lane there for you, and so
for sure.
I think that's a part that you should be, keep out in the air.
For sure, for sure. I think like this opportunity though, when the opportunity presents itself, I'll go in right. And this, I feel like this is one of the opportunities where we're going to talk about metal. We're going to talk about background, where we're from, how we come to like this beautiful genre that we love, but also where we come from or our hip hop ties, right? And we can talk about that and then talk about some of the comparisons. So I do want to start off with asking you a couple of questions just to get the party
Get the
started
ball rolling.
per se, right? Um, Do you what if any? What was the metal song? Okay, what was your first experience with metal? Let me ask you that.
Um, it would have to be, funny enough, Lincoln Park. I was
Where?
like
Okay.
a 7-year-old, 6, 7-year-old. My sister put me onto them, and they're new metal. They're very much you know pop oriented hip hop, of course, but they can get pretty heavy, and that's the seed that it took. So I would say that's ground zero is Lincoln Park for a lot of people. And
For
then from
sure.
there goes to all the surrounding stuff. You got System of a Down, Slipknot, Incubus, and then from there you get to Metallica, Iron Maiden, etc.
Did you kind of get, when you got to coming in? You basically kind of like new metal. It was getting kind of like new metal shift was really big. Did you kind of with you finding new metal? Did you kind of purposely venture off to go back also to find your Metallicas and your Iron Maidens, or how did you kind of play that out?
Um, it wasn't really deliberate to be like, oh, I got to go back and get the history. It was just what
Right.
was presented to me. Just
For
friends.
sure.
A friend he gave me Ride the Lightning on CD, and so
Ah.
on the school bus I would have my CD player and I'd play that. And everybody else was like, once everybody started getting iPods and CD and MP3 players, for the longest time I still had a little CD player, but yeah, Ride the Lightning, and it was just what was presented to me. But once we got past the dial-up and we got into well, then I could do some more exploring, and that's how I started going back and discovering everything from, you know, Metallica, Megadeth, Iron Maiden, then
Wow.
Sabbath, and yeah.
It's funny because my first experiences, I would say, with kind of like Metallica, and when I say experiences, it's because of where I'm going with this. Um, was because of I lived with a friend at the time. I'm out of high school. I lived with a friend at the time, and my friend was one of the only few people I knew that had Napster, right? And so you know where I'm going with this. So, so I remember that whole Lars thing with Napster. That was a big deal in music and almost what we're having today with streaming, right? Where it was going. Piracy. We had that conversation,
Lars was
and
right, by the way. He was right.
he was right, right? He was right. You look now, it's like, wait, he was onto something, and now artists find themselves getting robbed daily from streaming and stuff like that. But back then, he seemed like the big bad bully, or he seemed like the annoying guy who's complaining about this new super cool technology. But he
Yeah.
was protecting the art and protecting the music and
Yeah.
protecting the
People were
artists.
just ready to dog on him. Lars gets too much hate.
For sure, for sure. I dig it. I don't want. Let me now. I'm about to. I love these conversations because they start to
We can
drive
go down
wherever we
that.
want.
Yeah.
So let me ask you about that. So I got to obviously since I've been doing reaction, I react to a couple of Metallica records, which I do love. Obviously, some of the more notable Battery and stuff like that, right? Um, I noticed that in the comments though, or a lot of memes that Lars get a lot of shit from people, and I don't know the history of that. I don't know why. I don't know what that's about. Or somebody makes a comment like, um, you'll play a video or play a song, and somebody say, "Oh, good, Lars is on time this time," or something like that, or like some crazy comments, and I'm like, why does the people? Why does he? Does he have like a bad taste in people's mouths, or is just what happened there? Why is it just Lars?
It's a combination of things. Lars is very outspoken.
Okay.
And he can be coy, but also I think people compare him to a lot of his contemporaries like Dave Lombardo and
Uh,
so many of the scale of like technicality and proficiency in metal drumming at the time Metallica came out, there wasn't, this crazy technicality. Lars is sort of at the forefront of that fast drumming, and but then very quickly it's sort of like plateaued,
yeah.
and drumming just got more and more crazy, and you could tell he doesn't. He's more into. He's the businessman, very much so. He's the reason why
Okay.
Metallica got big. He's sort of like business, and he played a big part in the composition of the songs, him and James. And so he just sort of like, I don't think he was one to be like, I need to practice my rudiments, I got. And
Right.
so
Right.
there's that, plus there's several live blunders where he just isn't in the pocket. And also there's I don't know if you've seen the documentary Some Kind of Monster
I
for
haven't. I
Metallica.
haven't.
You haven't?
I gotta
Oh,
check it out.
it's great. It's a great watch. It's very,
Okay.
it's yeah. I'll just leave it at that. But in that, his personality is it's easy to hate, but also it's easy to love. It just depends on how you look at it. I think he's very much humbled himself over the years. Maybe back in the day he was a bit, high and mighty, but I think these days he's a humble guy, and I just think people give him shit because it's funny. I'd shit on Lars
Yeah.
sometimes just because it's funny.
Sometimes,
But at the end of the day,
what? Yeah. What? I think
he
sometimes the,
influenced my
the
drumming. Like I'm a drummer, and some of the stuff
okay.
that he did, I'm like, that's unique. I love that. Like there's a fill on Ride the Light. Oh, you haven't heard the Ride the Lightning, but
Mm.
I think that I'll leave it at that. Lars is there's a reason why people shit on him, and there's a reason why people love him, and so that's it.
Okay. I heard
Close
you.
that book.
I heard you mention you're a drummer. Let's talk about that a little bit. How'd you come into being a drummer?
My dad's a musician. He's a drummer, and
Okay.
so I just picked it up because he had it. I started drumming when I was probably 5, and in high school I was in a thrash band. But I also picked up guitar. Guitar's kind of more my main thing these days. But
Oh, cool. Okay.
yeah, so the two of those. But yeah, I have a great appreciation for Lars's drumming because he plays for the song. He doesn't play.
Yeah.
He doesn't try and show. It's sort of like Ringo, if you know about Ringo from the Beatles. People
For
shit on
sure. For
him, but
sure.
it's like he plays what's necessary, and so yeah.
What were some other than Lars and maybe and your father? What were some of your early influences, or maybe your metal influences, or not metal, just drumming influences?
Um, uh, Definitely like just the stuff I was listening to at the time. Liked because I liked the guitars and the drumming, and so like System of a Down and
Mm.
Metallica, and definitely Megadeth. All that.
Yeah.
It rubs off on you the second it hits your ears, and
For
so
sure. For sure. I think it's so cool, man. I think drumming. It's funny. So I looked at drummers. Not looked at. I kind of the drum. The drum is the heartbeat. Yes, but also I have a healthy. I think I didn't have the healthy respect. I didn't have a disrespect, but I didn't have the healthy respect I have for guitars like I do now. Finding metal, right? It's like obviously it's a great instrument, and it's not like I said, it's no disrespect. I just didn't really, pay any attention because I come from R&B and hip hop. There's first of all, there's not a lot of guitars in hip hop. Yes, there's bass for sure, but if you're not playing live instrumentation, there's not a lot of guitars in that. And in R&B, somewhat a little different, but
if there's
it's
a
a track
guitar, it's usually it's decorative, it's
for
subtle.
sure. Exactly, exactly,
Whereas in
exactly.
metal and rock, the guitar is the meat of it.
Exactly, 100%. So, but now, like journey, while I'm on this journey in metal, I'm listening to music. It's man, it's like you said, it's the meat. It's like you need it, right?
It's the
And
story.
finding the different styles, and I'm looking. It's funny you make a lot of sense when you talk about Lars plays what's necessary, right? And then you have your people who go outside of that. They're necessary, but also a lot of the tricks, a lot of the things, a lot of the rapid fire, different kind of things they do, what set them apart from
Painkiller.
right from other people, right? I think that's so cool. I do want to talk about Hold on, right here. I have my little questions here. 'Cause I'm trying to be professional.
Mhm.
Uh,
Ah,
um,
people want the real and raw and uncut, man.
Did you mention? Well, you were in the band, right?
Yeah, in high school I was in a thrash band, and yeah, but I played drums, but I wrote most of the stuff on guitar. Not to, be like, but it's like that's just how passionate I was about making music.
Yeah.
You
Any pros and cons for being in the band?
Hell yeah. I mean, cons are most shows are gonna suck early on because I mean we're in high school, we don't know what we're doing. Like
Right,
we
right, right.
played one of our first shows, we played the Whiskey in L.A. But we had to
Really?
sell tickets. Yeah, we had to sell
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
tickets, which was terrible, but it was a great experience. There's still footage of
Legendary.
that, but yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
that's a legendary
legendary
spot.
place.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I was there recently to see a show, and it's a great venue. Lots of history there, but
I
yeah,
performed there.
pros. You did?
Yeah, I
That's
performed
great.
there. Yeah,
Hell yeah.
yeah.
When was this? Because I saw recently you
This
said
is
you don't.
well, rap obviously.
But
So
yeah, but you said you don't anymore, and I was gonna say, yo, man,
for
just
sure
get
that
back
so that
into it.
had to be about 2000 maybe 15, 16 maybe.
Mm.
I'm thinking maybe no maybe 2013, 14 maybe around that time. Um, I signed with an independent label around 2010, 2011. We started doing shows around that time. So that whole run, I did the Roxy, I did Whiskey a Go Go, I did almost every venue in LA. Technically, hit the Henry Fonda Theater. I did a bunch of like the legendary spots. I didn't
Vonda
do
Theater.
yep.
Nice.
Um, um, the Viper Room. I did a bunch of spots. Um, really good time, really good time. And I talked about one day. I'm gonna do a whole video where I get into my hip hop history in its entirety, and then going into metal. I think it'll be good a good way for people to know me a little more in depth when it
Mhm.
comes to music, instead of hearing me break down songs and why I may have um, a musical way to look at it. You can understand a little more if you know I come from music and my background in that. So that's always pretty cool. Do you have where I'm finding out is right now with me and my journey in metal? I'm finding out like I'm in the early stages of figuring out what genre I like more. Like because what genre stand out more, right? Am I a thrash guy? Am I a doom metal guy? Am I this and that? Right?
Mhm.
Where do you find yourself? Do you have a favorite genre? Favorite subgenre? Where do you kind of where you rest? Not rest because there's a lot of
I know what
different.
you mean. I
You
know what
know.
you mean. Yes. Oh, that's hard to answer.
Mhm.
I think my gut says to go thrash because that's where my sort of like origins are, and that's where a lot of my favorites are. But some of the most exciting and interesting, venture past that, like one of my favorite bands is Death, which you've done a track from them,
For sure. Yeah.
and but also a lot of like, I'm not a big Cannibal Corpse guy,
Okay.
and they're both death metal like OGs,
For sure.
but it's like, I love black metal, but like black metal is very hit or miss,
Okay.
uh, very hit or miss depending on the production. The production is very all over the place.
Mhm.
And so I guess I would say thrash, but what's so cool is like there's gateways to different subgenres through like bridge, like sort of overlapping too. Like the reason I was able to get into black metal because at one point it was way too much for me. It was just my threshold of tolerance. Everybody has a threshold of what they can tolerate.
For sure.
Because at some point
Lean
it
up in the
becomes
mic. We
too
can't. We
much.
When you
Oh,
lean back,
my
we can't
bad.
really hear you. That's fine. It's all good. It's all good.
Everybody has a threshold of what they can tolerate.
Mhm.
At some point it gets too extreme, too overbearing, it becomes noise. But you can sort of raise that by like discovering like I discovered a band that was black thrash. So it's
Mhm.
like thrash metal and black metal together, and that was able to bridge the gap to get me into black metal. And
Mhm.
so there's so many examples of that allow you to sort of like level up, I guess. And so I guess I would go thrash at the end if I
Thrash.
had to pick one.
Yeah,
It's
but
not
look, yeah,
thrash.
that's the thing. You don't have to. It's not necessarily a question where it's one. It has to be one over the other. But I know sometimes
Thrash
there
is like
we
home
have.
base.
Yeah, like, what's we kind of like resonate with more sometimes. You may do way more thrash than any other genre. That doesn't mean you don't like black metal or death metal or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm right now where I am now, which I love to do. That's why I use my channel also like a metal diary in a sense where I want to show, I want to talk about and show these steps as I go move forward, and then we'll look back on how things changed for me throughout my journey. For example, I would consider myself right now in metal. If I had to pick a genre that I'm more so like resonate with,
Can I
it's
guess?
please, please,
Doom?
Doom. Doom. You got it, Doom.
Because it's got that groove, it's got that, a lot of times the fast stuff is sort of like I don't know where the pocket is, you know what I mean?
But you understand, but you also understand, and I love that though. You understand I'm coming from hip hop also,
Hmm.
so it's kind of like I do. I would say this coming from hip hop, Doom. I'm a little more maybe I don't know if the word is prepared for Doom in a sense because it I can listen to Doom with kind of like this.
Yeah.
So that's hip hop all day. Whether you slow it down or speed it up, that's hip hop, right? I learned to love thrash by not counting because I'm always
Or
counting in my head.
just what you got to do is like you got to half it instead of going
Yeah,
one,
for
two,
sure,
three,
for
four,
sure.
one. You got to go one,
Exactly,
two, three, four. You know what I mean?
exactly. So,
You got to
so
chop it up.
when I stopped counting, or I stopped using my hip hop count thing in
Hmm.
fours, right? I stopped counting. Then I got to experience it different. That's how I started loving Tool because Tool throw that count shit out the window, right? It's like I don't know, you don't know where they're gonna go, right?
What's cool
But
about stuff like Tool, though, is it's almost like decoding a puzzle. It's like,
one hundred
and then
percent.
once you figure it out, it's like, oh, it's sort of like, it's the equivalent to like a brain teaser, like in a, you know what I mean? It's like
Tool,
you decode it, you decrypt it, and then it's like, oh, I know this, and then like somebody else could hear it, and they'll have no idea. I'm like, you don't know the secret, you know what I mean? It's sort of
I
like,
think that's what makes Tool to me such an amazing band. There's everybody's good musicians. I don't mean that literally, but you understand what I'm saying. Like in your grand scheme of great legendary bands or just great bands anyway, we're all good musicians. We all can play guitar, we all can play bass, drums, or whatever. Um, and we all make great songs, whether it's a catchy melody thing. For example, if there's your arguments with people who have arguments about Kiss and where they see Kiss, right? And I'm like, love or hate Kiss, there was some marketing geniuses thing that happened there, or some poppy song things that happened there where they got bigger than life at one point, right? And then you got your I'm not going to say purists because I can't speak for a purist, but people say, yeah, they're too gimmicky, too marketing, which makes them more pop than anything in the rules of what metal is, depending on who's who and who's looking at that, right? But there's a genius thing about how they got there, right? For example, now I'm going way off metal with this example, but stay with me one
I'm
second,
here, I'm here, I'm
right?
with you.
Right. So Kim Kardashian,
I knew
right?
this is where it was going.
Right.
I was
So
waiting
Kim
for it.
Kardashian. So to look at Kim Kardashian now, right? And then I hear people now they say she got rich off a sex tape, right? Cool. That's okay. Cool. You gotta understand that tape happened what almost a decade plus ago, literally almost 15 years ago. Her whole entire family is billionaires. The whole family.
Hmm.
Not really, but
Before
I'm
all that,
talking.
even.
Right. Her whole family are multi-millionaires at least. And a couple of them are billionaires. We know this for a fact. Right. You can't sustain just from one sex tape 15 years ago. It has to be another kind of skill or talent there.
Yeah.
Even if the skill or talent is being popular, right? Even if your skill is how do I if you're a type of person that knows how to go viral, no matter what you do, that's a skill in itself. Knowing what to do to go viral, to stay popular, to stay. So Kiss, I look at them the same kind of way. There was a point where Yes, they have a Kiss lighter and a teacup and a Kiss cooler and a Kiss
But
all these
that
things.
stuff's cool. You know what I mean?
It's cool. And then, but for the people who hated it, it's like, man, something's working. They're getting bigger and bigger and bigger, right? So when you talk about certain genres of music, back to where I look at Tool. Tool, not only is the music great, and they're not afraid to just go somewhere. I love the fact that they also make you think. It's like we have to do our part also as a listener, right? So if you're putting like the Fibonacci sequence in a song, you're like, one, for those who don't know, we got to look up what the Fibonacci sequence is. What is that first? Now we got to learn. Now we're in school. We're learning about this, and then learn about how it was applied in this song, and then to respect the genius of how someone did that, and why would someone do that? You know,
And also the fact that, there's a certain respect for the listener, like, you know, assuming that they're just not brain dead and that it's something that people want and can
for
consume.
sure.
And there's a mutual respect with that sort of artist listener, not dichotomy, what's the word? Relationship. But
Yeah,
yeah, and that gives it so much value because there's something to bite into.
for sure, 100%. I love when an artist um, goes goes the mile with how they want to present their art. Right? It's not about just making the song being catchy, and then give it to the people, and then that's just it. When you're going in there with a different kind of intent. Look, so when I watched an interview with Maynard one time. He talked about how they do their song process. Right? They talk about how the guys make the music, and they go in there and make the music however they make it. They send it to him. He has to write, and then hopefully they keep it, because anytime you change the music, then some writing has to change. So he said that gets on his
Yeah.
nerves a little bit, but whatever, right? We understand. But the crazy part is, if you think about this, if the writer's not in the room when they're making the music, right? Think about this with the song. Let's look at Lateralis. Lateralis, right?
Mm.
If or I keep forgetting how to pronounce the other one. Is it Enema? I'm
Enema?
trying to, is it Enema? Is
I
that how
don't
you
think
pronounce
so.
the song?
I don't know.
No, no. Enema. The word enema is in the song, but I know it's not pronounced enema. I know it's not. Right? I just keep saying it because the A is in front. But anyway,
Yeah.
so you have Lateralis or that song, right? And to hear that music first, you like, wait a minute, where were you guys going? And the fact that Maynard can write to that is a skill in itself. And then they didn't know the Fibonacci sequence was coming with that song. They just did the music, or somebody. No, I think Danny did, because you have to count that out. You have to have done that. You have to have done it
Yep.
intentionally to do
Usually,
that.
the more proggy something is, the more complicated, the less likely it is to be a collaborative composition.
Right, right,
You
right,
know,
right. For
usually it
sure, for
comes from
sure.
one guy. And
Yeah,
not to say you can't do it that way, but it's certainly that's a tall order, definitely.
for sure. But and I can't see 4 or 5 people sitting around like, Fibonacci sequence, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
what? Like, that's not even a real thing, you know. But
Or
I think it's
like
so.
Rush. Rush has a song YYZ where the main riff is Morse code for like,
Really?
yeah, and it's Morse code for like their like home county or where they're from, something like that, which is
Wow.
crazy.
You know what, man? That's one thing I do love about metal is that it's metal isn't afraid to go wherever the hell it wants to go. What I mean by that is that okay, when it comes to concepts of maybe albums or songs or whatever. So I come from hip hop, right? And hip hop is so much bravado and ego, and validation comes from a lot of times outside of yourself. So you wouldn't find a rapper doing a concept album about or concept like Moby Dick, or you wouldn't find like how Judas Priest did the Ripper, or
Hmm.
how Cannibal Corpse did Hammer Smash Face. You wouldn't find a rapper doing songs in character of another like person in a sense where I mean you have them.
You would, but they're considered very niche, right?
Niche far and few, right? If you look at Nas, I gave you power when he rapped from the perspective of he's a gun, and that was really really interesting. Or when Nas did Rewind, he rapped backwards the whole story, right? But
Mm.
Nas is Nas, right? There's one
Mm.
Nas, and there's right.
He's an
So
outlier.
he's an outlier. So when you have certain King Diamond, when you have the way he does concept albums and tell these whole stories,
Abigail.
Abigail, right, and stuff like that, and so I'm always impressed by the fact that we're not afraid to go there, and the fans just go with them, because the fans aren't think. I mean, I wonder. Maybe I'm new here, so I don't know, but I'm always wondered. Do they think like I heard? So, for example, Mastodon, right? Mastodon I have a Mastodon. I heard Mastodon for the first time yesterday. I did my first reaction to a Mastodon song. I'll give it here. I did the Mother Load, right? And I won't tell too much because I'm gonna let the reaction play out.
Drumming's
But
great though, right?
absolutely amazing, absolutely amazing. I love the record. The solo at the end too. Whoever's on guitar was insane. Um, so, but I heard that album. No, not that album. Sorry. The album with the whale on the front was like a
Mm.
but
Moby
either
Dick
either
concepts.
Moby Dick concept. Like in my mind, like who in the hell in rap would do that? Like who would do? And here's the thing: if you
Metalheads
did do it,
can be big dorks, man, geeks, and it's beautiful.
that's the thing, though. I think that's what makes it so cool because I hate to compare rap back and forth, but I come from hip hop, right? So
No, dude, I love it. I love it.
if I was to do an album about Moby Dick, I'm rapping about the concept of this Moby Dick album, I would be laughed out the building. Like, what are you on, bro? Like, what are you talking about? But what if the story is just why can't the story just be the story? Why can't you just enjoy the concept of some really good musicianship, right? And some really good writing to enjoy this album and then just take it with you and live with it. It's art. Instead of thinking because it's not a real story or if this happened or not, so it's not real, even though most of the quote unquote real stuff you guys rapping about isn't happening, right?
You
So
know,
that just always kills me when it comes to the art, you know.
I think that as time goes on, there's definitely way more sort of acceptance for people going out there with concepts or whether it be fiction or nonfiction. People are more well with the advent of playlists and streaming. It's sort of challenged a bit because people aren't, at least younger people aren't consuming albums, as much. But I think there are still plenty of artists that are going for that, and there are plenty of people that are willing to consume that. And so
Yeah.
I think on both fronts, I tend to be optimistic just about the art form progressing, and because people are hungry for that.
Yeah, I dig it. I think I see a couple of comments where he talked about these are still the outliers, right? So MF Doom, rest in peace. They talk about Dale the Funky Homo Sapien. There's obviously your rappers who do this, right? Who have their concepts, their stories, they go outside of what the norm does. But I wasn't saying literally there's no rappers that do that. I'm saying they're far and few. To your point, they're the outliers. Right, right, exactly. They're the outliers. These are the few who, the reason why they are who they are too, and revered the way they are revered because they have done the different things or showed themselves in a way that most hadn't before. But I think it's always interesting to me because I get to come here and I feel like I'm in a fantasy world of this music, right? I feel like I'm in a museum, and in this museum, there's all these new pieces of art, right? It's all metal, all different genres and eras and all these things, and I'm walking around and all of it's new, and all of it is like nothing I've seen before because of the places you guys dare to go. When I say you guys, I mean as a new person coming in, and then I'm seeing all these things for the first time, right? And so I'm looking at them like I love the fact when I did the Cannibal Corpse reaction. I did it with my good friend Rios, and we're listening to the thing, and you can see it on obviously on the video. We were like, yeah, this is too much for us. We don't really like this, right? Right. And then once it stopped and I started reading the comments, and then now and I'm talking to my friends, they're teaching me about Cannibal Corpse, where they come from, what they like, or they love horror movies. They're big fans of horror. They're big fans. So it's like, oh, I'm looking at this like somebody who's just really sick, right? Right?
Yeah, it's like, are they
But
really about this?
you know what I mean? Like I'm just looking at it like that. Who would want to do
People
this?
are like,
But if I understand, if I look at it like how you would watch a scary movie
a
or
horror
how you would
film.
watch a horror movie, and I'm like, oh, I get that. So then what happened was I sat back and like, oh, I need to listen to that again because there's a different kind of appreciation if you have context, and I have context that they're lovers of horror movie. And what's my man? I watched not a whole documentary. I saw the lead vocalist in Corpse Grinder. That's his name, Corpse Grinder, right?
Hmm.
I
The
think
guy
Corpse
with the
Grinder.
neck.
Yeah, him. He's a sweetheart.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
I looked at him. They rehearsed doing behind the scenes rehearsal for some album. He was just an amazing person, just a sweetheart. And I'm like, damn, I approached it all wrong. But it wasn't that I approached it wrong. I approached it as I'm pretty sure the shock value they wanted to give off.
As
My
any
making was
as
wrong.
anybody would, as somebody
As
that's new
anybody
to
would,
it, you just sort of
right,
take it at face value, and you're like, wow, fucked with a knife.
right,
Okay,
right.
it's crazy.
But it was cool
Sorry, I
once I
don't know
got.
how you feel about cursing on here, but I guess I'm sorry.
Oh no, do you think? I try not to curse in the first 5 minutes. Outside of that, I ain't tripping. Um, I having that kind of understanding helps me with the music because I always approach music or art being open minded. So I don't want to
And
come in with my huh?
let me say, even after getting that context and you're able to observe it sort of from that perspective, it's okay if you're like, I still don't fuck with it. You know what I mean?
100%.
Like cause you know, that's just, that's how it goes. There are things that you'll connect with and things that are just like, oh, cause sometimes you'll find an artist and you're like, oh my God, this instrumental kit is slaps. But
Yeah.
then the vocals come in and you're like, oh, and you're like,
Right.
there's so
Right.
many different ways to approach extreme vocals,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like in Cannibal Corpse, that particular type of vocal style, I usually don't mess with. Whereas
Mhm.
like the vocals in Death, I mess with.
Okay.
It's all it's case by case. But not to
Yeah.
say there's Cannibal Corpse stuff I like definitely, but it's like I come back every few years to be like, all right, let me give this another shot. Because sometimes your tolerance level, you'll level up, and then stuff that you used to be like, that's I don't fuck with that. Then you'll be like, oh, it clicks,
For
because
sure.
now it's like, oh, you have the sort of the comprehension to sort of see what their picture they're trying to paint.
Yeah.
Anyway, you were going to say something. I interrupted you.
No. I'm to that point. I'm watching a picture being painted, and what happens is if I'm watching it in real time as a reaction video, I try to not try to fully understand it while they're in the middle of their art. You're in the middle of painting something, and somebody's standing behind you like, "Why are you doing that?" And you're like, "Bro, just let me finish." Right?
Yeah.
Right? So with me watching these videos or hearing these songs for the first time, once I get some understanding on where somebody was coming from or what the story may be, what the concept may be, then there's a processing thing that happens with me where, oh, okay, I can see that, I can understand that. Same thing happened to me when I did a reaction to Satyricon, Mother North, right? It's like that was very different from what I was hearing before, and hearing that voice and then the sound, and I'm like, okay, I kind of like the track. I don't know what that voice is, but the story to me and the history of what was happening kind of override the whole thing, and I'm like, oh, but that's fucked up, right? And then that's
Mm.
messed up, and I could understand because remember I was having that issue between like um, Satanism and Christianity. I have a Christian background, and then hearing Mother
Behemoth.
North and understanding what was happening to a certain people at that time where they're from, doing it the way they do, that was messed up. And so I can see how someone could go total opposite because of what happened to them and how people approached it, supposedly coming from a certain kind of religious,
Yeah.
background. And so there was a different kind of appreciation for Mother North when I heard it, and I'm like, oh, I kind of like this because I like the story. I can appreciate it from a
They're turning
story.
it into something that's positive.
It,
Whether,
it,
even if the
it,
music is about sort of crazy things or whatever, it's sort
yeah,
of like it's making people happy because, and it's just
but for
doing
me,
something creative out of that negative experience. Go on.
it was the same. For me, it sound like what the story was about. So it's like you watch
Grim.
a sad scene in the movie. The music is going to sound a certain kind of way to kind of help you drive that this is a sad thing happening or about to happen. So with Mother North, to me, it was the same thing. I kind of got that from that. Like I can picture it now. What he's saying, the music, the pain, the voice, it all
Black
made
metal's
sense
really good at that. Black metal's really good at
for
creating
sure.
a scene and an aesthetic and a vibe that is really affecting. Like some of the most therapeutic like metal I've listened to is like really grim, dark black metal. Like that
Really.
record right there is pure therapy.
What is that? What
It,
record
it
is that right there?
the album is called Sacred White Noise
Okay.
by an artist called Vanti Faxath.
Wow.
Wildest name.
Okay.
Uh, and they're from Canada.
Uh-huh.
And I've seen them live a few times. And I couldn't, if I had to recommend one band, it would definitely be them because they're not, crazy popular. These three albums right here, one,
Yeah.
two, three, that's all them, Vanti Faxath.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And they're more modern black metal, like post 2010, and the production is immaculate, like really good
Okay.
production.
I gotta check
And
them out.
yeah, but that's like this stuff is pure therapy, and they got a little bit of progginess in there that's like makes it it's something to dive into. Like they got a I don't want to go off on a tangent because I just love that band so much. I
Yeah.
can't praise them enough.
Well, let me
Yeah.
ask you a question. Is there a genre? Well, maybe not a whole genre, but for the most part, we're talking like we're generalizing here. Is there a genre you don't care for?
Um, so I haven't gotten too deep into like grindcore. Like it's like I'm sort of in the entry level stages of a lot of that stuff.
Hmm.
Grindcore is sort of like I don't know how I would describe it. It's sort of like it has the intensity of death metal, but it's way more manic and can be even sloppy sometimes. The
Hmm.
songs are like a minute because it's so intense. It's like if it goes on any longer, it's like the artist will keel over and die. But yeah, it's so like that, and then there's some like technical like extreme like death metal that's just sort of like it's too much. It's like the drums are like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I could have it in short bursts, but it's over time. My tolerance is building up, but definitely. Otherwise, it's just a matter of each band has a different approach. There's sort of
I,
like 10 different elements to any given artist, and it's like they could check off like 9 out of 10 boxes, but maybe that one is it just turns you off from them because it's sort of like the songs are great, but the production is just so
okay.
I just
Can't
what I
get
mean.
with it. I have a question. One thing I never understood. I'm glad I got to have you here because you mentioned something that I I don't know. I don't know. I've heard it before, and I know I didn't ask. One thing I don't have an understanding is I don't understand the core part. So, for example, I heard deathcore, then I heard death metal, or I heard grindcore. I heard, you know, what I mean, the core, the ending part. I never understood what was the differences, or is there a difference in that?
Core. I mean, I can't necessarily say that I'm the person to give you like the definition of what that is, but
Got
to
it.
my
Got it.
knowledge, core very much it tends to mean that there's an element to it that is it sort of it makes it. How would you?
So
Let's ask the
come,
chat. How would you
somebody
like?
come
What
to
makes something core? My answer would be like, oh, this is it's meant to make it more accessible, commercial almost. You know what I mean? It's like death metal. If you make it deathcore, that's swinging it toward a more accessible and digestible. I don't want to say pop oriented, but it's like core, and that's why a lot of metal elitists are like they hate anything core. You know what I mean?
Oh,
It's
really?
yeah. There's a very much an elitist, and and I've been you know, I've been that type, in high school, toward just like, you hate on it because it's like more accessible, and there's nothing
Uh,
inherently wrong with that. But it's what I haven't even looked at the chat. Do they have
someone
a
said.
thought on that?
Someone said. Well, two back to back said. The Metal Warrior 1993 said hardcore. I don't know if he's saying that
Oh yeah, it originates from the term like hardcore, meaning like hardcore punk,
like a
and that's
a
kind of
heavier
where it
part, whatever
comes
genre.
from.
Oh, is
But
it
then it
like
kind of
like whatever?
changed when it comes to when it comes to metal, the core in there, it became something different than like hardcore punk. That thing, core became a sort of a different offset of
Oh,
that. But
okay.
originally, it just refers to hardcore.
Yeah, somebody else said that too. What's it? By Chris Burton, P.Y. Chris Burton said it comes from hardcore punk. Um, so let me get an understanding on that. Are they saying that coming from hardcore punk? If you say deathcore, so are they saying like it's more of a hardcore version of death metal?
Of death metal,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say so. I
Okay.
would
Okay.
say
Okay.
like it's a more not an excess. I don't know. It's not because to me it's you're more likely to find a death core shirt at a Hot Topic than a death metal shirt at Hot Topic. You know what I mean? It's sort of it's more accessible.
Someone said core means two people back to back said core means with breakdowns. Core have more breakdowns.
Yeah. Typically, yeah, it's you're more likely to find a breakdown in a core. Like I do like some like deathcore stuff. Like I know, like Job for a Cowboy is one artist that I dig. That is a lot of that elements. Black Dahlia Murders kind of has core elements, but I digress. I'm not the source
For
for
sure.
info on that. Uh, somebody mentioned Trivium. Trivium, The Crusade is a really good song.
So I got an interesting question. I want to see what you think about this. If I only had 1 year to truly now this is trivia, not trivia, but just to kind of we freestyling here. So if I only had 1 year to truly understand metal, where should I begin, in your opinion?
What do you mean by where? You're doing it. You're already there. You're doing exactly. I feel like there's no
I'm talking. If
ideal
you, I'm
way.
talking. If you talking, say if you like, take me
Oh,
off the
as
table.
somebody brand new.
Yeah. So yeah, you meet somebody. You met somebody,
Oh,
and they ask you,
Sabbath.
"Man, I want to get into metal. Where should I start?"
Sabbath.
Sabbath. Yeah.
Yeah, that's if you want to get really particular, like pre-Sabbath, like the stuff that are like precursors to metal. There's some notable stuff in the late '60s that is sort of like getting to where Sabbath really lit the torch. You might be surprised. Like the Beatles have a couple tracks that start to get in that heavy lane.
Yeah.
They have a track called "I Want You, She's So Heavy" that is very almost doomy, and they have a song called "Helter Skelter" that's probably the heaviest thing you would hear in 1968. And
Ah.
stuff like MC5. I know. What else is there? Uh, of course, like no, I think that there's other ones. I'm thinking the late '60s, but yeah. But Sabbath is really where it's like, oh, this is metal. We got
we,
something here.
we we pretty much all agree that Sabbath would be a great
Yeah,
start.
Sabbath is it. Sabbath is ground zero.
Do you have an opinion on what you think? Now, this is your personal opinion, right? So it's not about the masses, not about what we all think, but you think if there was, if the, if all metal albums disappeared and there was one to stand alone above all for the rest of time, what album would you choose that to be?
What I choose,
Yes.
and sort of,
This is mind
am
you,
I?
this is your favorite. It's not about the people, not about what you want to stand and
So I'm not
build.
thinking, oh, if aliens found the planet and
No, no,
this is what
this
I
is
would
you.
want to represent
Yeah.
the.
Basically, if you were on an island, you had one metal album to listen to for the rest of your time. What album would that be?
Don't do this to me, Mel.
I know there's tons and
Uh,
tons of albums, right? But
it might. Mm, my heart wants to say okay, I'm kind of split in two. Uh, Ride the Lightning because it's so pivotal in my journey.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
in terms of like something that will fill me up, that I'll feel full, is that one in the top corner, right?
What's that right there? What is that?
Death, Symbolic. You did Crystal
Ah,
Mountain from that album.
yep, 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 yep.
That's the first vinyl I ever bought.
Oh, really?
I got it at Amoeba Records, which I'm sure you're aware of.
I
That's
was
a
gonna say,
place
yeah,
also. You asked like where should you go to find metal records, or
for
there's
sure.
lots of
Yeah,
cool stuff at Amoeba, but I think that there's plenty others out there too.
for
You got
sure.
comments on that?
What was that like? Were you going with the intention to get that album?
No, I just saw it and I'm like, I have to buy this. Like it's because it's. I think at the time I was getting really into them and it
Hmm.
was good price, and I'm like, this is it.
Right.
That's a perfect 10 to me.
I was going to ask you that. That was the next question I was going to ask you. What album do you feel is a 10-10 flawless from top to bottom? That would be the one.
Definitely that one.
For sure. For sure.
And the one comes right after that, "The Sound of Perseverance." I've left a couple long comments on your channel like some months ago, like check this album out from Death. It's really, because I think you were being very open about some struggles you were having at the time, which I really
Yeah.
related to, and like that album. I mean, just the title, "The Sound of Perseverance." It's like the lyricism is very. It's like it's empowering. It's real. It's raw, and the production and the musicianship, the songwriting. It all lifts that up, and it's believe it or not, on that album, Death, they cover Painkiller, and it's
Oh, really?
imagine that, like how. Because you probably remember just the musicianship, the technicality. They do it justice for sure. It's really I
I
recommend
got to
that
hear
listen.
that. I love that I'm pretty sure they do it other genres also, but well, yeah, for sure they do covers a lot in different genres. But I just love how it's almost like paying homage to, like just showing love to other artists, where you would have Metallica do Last Caress, or
Hmm.
Def did Painkiller, or these people are doing these songs for these bands, just like showing like just like yeah, I'm a fan. That was dope. That was a really dope
Yeah.
record. I want to do it. And I think
Megadeth
that's
has
so
done
cool.
These boots. These boots were made for walking.
Yeah. Oh, really? That's dope.
Yeah.
And see that, and just shows it shows how much fans of different genres that a lot of metal musicians are. Where it's like they'll flip songs that weren't rock, right? It's just kind of like some of our guilty. I have a Discord. And for those who don't know, I have a Discord. I'll put the link in the chat for you guys to join the Discord if you want to. I think we're having a good time. I would love for you to be there. Anyway,
Of course they want to, huh?
I what was that about? Did I just lose my train of thought? Oh yeah, I think bands showing love to other bands that way is really really cool. Where you would take someone's song and do it to show homage. I think that's really really dope. And I like to I don't want to seem naive when I talk about metal either, because when I do talk about like the community and how positive and things, and then somebody will always say, yeah, but you also have these knuckleheads too, or you have these certain parts where it's really dirty, really nasty. But I don't want to. I don't overall. I don't want to put the highlight on the few to what's been going on a large scale of how cool people are and how nice people can be and how warm people can welcome me in. And because if I focus on the few comments that I get that may be bad comments or whatever it is, that takes away from all the super cool comments I get, and people
Mm.
supporting me, people leaving good word, really really good comments, and
Words of encouragement.
man, a lot, tons of them. So I don't want to focus on the one comment. He was like, "Hey, you were wrong about that. You don't know anything." And I'm like,
Oh, those
"I know I
people
don't
are
know
just
anything."
like those are just you'll run into those people that are just like actually, you know what I mean? It's you'll get
Like
those
snobs
guys.
about like metal
Yeah.
snobs, right? Where it's like,
And at one point, I think all of us have had that phase where it's sort of like,
Mhm.
because once we sort of comprehend the like depth of this whole genre, then it's sort
Yeah,
of like, why does nobody else? Why does anybody else see this? And it's sort of then you become snobbish. So then you get past that, because then it's like, there's nothing wrong with being like Kiss, how they had all that merch and
Yeah,
memorabilia, and it's sort of,
yeah,
there's nothing wrong with that or with being straightforward and simple. You know what I mean? It's sort of, it's like there's value to be found in all that, and it's just about finding what you like,
yeah,
and that's it. It's at the end of the day, it's music. It's we're privileged to live in an age where music is a privilege that we should always consider that. It's
for
it's
sure.
it's it's a beautiful thing, and we all have our snobbiness, and that's our gatekeeper qualities about some things, and you just take it with a grain of salt, you know. Oh, one thing I was gonna say, please don't forget to like and subscribe. That's what I want to say right now. Uh, hit that bell, please. Hit that bell. Uh, uh, well, what I was gonna say, you were talking about how it's cool that bands will cover other artists.
Yeah.
One thing I think that's cool in the hip hop world is features. You never see that in metal. Really,
Oh,
it's
okay,
rare. Whereas
okay.
I think like that would be cool. That would be so cool if like randomly James Hetfield was a guest on this, you know,
Ah,
insert band here or whatever.
I never thought about that because they'll do, for example, they'll do if if um if they're at a show together or a festival together, somebody might come out and play on the set.
Yeah,
But as far as like a feature on a song, they
collaborative efforts would be so
right,
cool.
right, right. Well, you're right. So
You
far,
get that
I haven't
sometimes
seen it.
more
Yeah.
recently. You'll see a bit more. You're starting to see that with
Hmm.
more modern artists, and it's sort of like I think that should be embraced more because who knows what you could get out of that sort of
Yeah.
collaboration. You know,
Damn, I would love you. Right. You know what? Okay. For shits and giggles, let's build a fantasy band right now. Right. That we're gonna now.
a
This
super
band. We
group.
got. Let's say this a super group. We have you have one lead vocalist, two guitarists, one bassist, one drummer. So
Okay.
now
Which
you can probably
which one you want to which okay, what's you're thinking of somebody. Who do you want to put in there first?
um so me okay. I'll pick the drummer. I'm not good. I know a lot of names with the guitars and basses. I'm
But if
still
you know the
learning.
band, I could tell you what the drummer's name is or the member's name is.
I don't know that much. I don't remember. I'm just starting, so I would know bands a little bit, but I just want to put people in place where I'm not thinking of bands. I just want to think of talented people. I don't care where
Mhm.
they come from. Let's see what they sound like together. I'll start. I'll do drummer. Let me take what's my
Lars.
man? No, not. Wait, I see. What's funny was now that you said Lars, I don't want to
No,
say
Lars
no
should be the
because
manager. Lars is the manager.
right, right. So what's my man? I like my man from Lord Ashore. Um, it's
Oh, I don't know his
Archie.
name.
Archie. Okay, let's play safe. Let's say Danny Carey, right?
Mhm.
Let's say Danny Carey as on drums.
All right.
Who do you want lead vocals?
Can it be Dead or Alive?
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
Dio.
Dio. Okay. Um,
One thing I want to mention about Dio, I don't know if you knew this.
hmm,
Dio's been in the game since 1961.
wow.
He was doing he had a group called Ronnie Dio and the Prophets in the early 60s, and it's like R&B doo-wop. It's crazy. And to
Really?
think he went from that all the way through, the Sabbath, like this guy's lived and embodied like three different eras of
I
music, which is crazy.
I heard that someone said he had like five careers in
Yeah.
metal and rock alone. Like because I know about. Well, I was just put on about Elf. Obviously, I knew about Rainbow, Sabbath, and Dio.
Oh, I
I did
want to
not.
mention real quick. If I look
Hmm?
a little fidgety, it's because I recently injured my sciatic nerve, which is like
Oh my
in my
God! Yeah,
leg,
I know for
and
sure. I
so
know.
I'm a little bit like, So
Yeah.
that's people are like, "Is this guy tweaking?" He's like, "No,
Oh
I'm
no,
just
no. That's
massaging my leg."
if they know that pain, it's totally understandable. They know what's going on. They
Oh, this is
they
Rosie, by the way. Hey, people.
Oh, I didn't even see. Oh, I didn't even see it there. Okay.
Everybody likes to see it.
Hey, that's Rosie.
What's up, Rose? Sorry, Rose.
Rosie is chilling. Rosie, like, please put me down. I'm chilling.
She's like,
Um.
okay.
Okay. So who? So okay, we got Danny Carey. We got Dio on leads. Who? So
Lead
guitars and
vocals.
basses. You got to pick
Uh, Marty Friedman on guitar.
from where? Where would I know Marty?
He's from Megadeth.
Oh, okay.
And so
Okay.
you've heard Holy Wars, I think, right?
Yep. Yep.
And he's the, gosh, yeah, Marty Friedman
Yes.
is
Yes.
impeccable.
Wow.
Bassists. Who comes to mind? I mean, Cliff Burton comes to mind, of Metallica. But what bass player? Oh,
Prophet. It say Prophets, Electric Elves, Elf, Rainbow, Black Sabbath, Dio. Man,
Electric Elves. I haven't heard of that. That's great.
that's crazy. He's working. He was basically working. He was working basically.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody said
my
Dimebag.
friend,
Somebody
my
said
friend
Dimebag.
went to. Oh, Dimebag. Yeah, Dimebag and Marty Friedman would be crazy. Oh, that
Insane.
was so sick. Oh, for bass, Steve DiGiorgio, and he played bass with Death on a couple records. He's fantastic. That might be
I
my
wonder what that
pick.
sounds like. So Danny Carey.
But also, I
which-
want to mix it up. I want to pick somebody else from. I don't know, Danny Carey, Dio, Marty Friedman, Dimebag, bass player. You pick the bass player.
I don't know. I don't know too many bass players.
Thundercat.
Thundercat. The Thundercat. I know the Thundercat.
Yeah.
That would be insane.
That would be crazy.
That would be insane. Wow.
I think because he's got great tones. He's done some cool stuff.
Absolutely amazing musician. Absolutely amazing. That would be sick.
Any metalheads that are like, where do I go to get into hip hop? Thundercat is that might be a good stepping stone because he just got, he works with a lot of hip hop artists. And anything that has his playing on it, you'll dig. The opening
Amazing.
track on that album, To Pimp a Butterfly, which is like one of the greatest hip hop albums ever. The opening track has Thundercat playing bass on it, and it's nasty.
Insane. Somebody said,
Just to throw Thundercat in there is crazy. That's great.
Hey, that's I think about this, but I never thought about that where people aren't necessarily collabing in that kind of way. We're doing songs. Like I would love to hear Metallica featuring. I'm talking on a record. Or I mean that's Metallica's a little bit legendary, but let's take a newer.
Oh, you mean like a full album?
No, not a full album necessarily. I mean just like a song, like featuring somebody else. Yeah, it's like if you don't see that.
Supergroups tend to suck, unfortunately. You know what I mean? Having that meant, but in an ideal world where everybody could, because collaboration is a whole other thing.
And that's the thing when it comes to supergroups, it's like the thing that makes a lot of bands special is the time they spend with one another, playing together, being comfortable, knowing where someone's going, knowing where you're going already before you go there. Sometimes there's a lot of that happens, right? So if you just put 5 incredible legendary musicians together and just put them in a room,
magic's gonna happen.
It doesn't mean it. They're all incredibly individually great, but what if they don't gel? See, jazz musicians do that a lot, where they play together a lot. Jazz they have jam sessions, they gel, they freestyle, and it comes off. But it's kind of like in the culture of how they're bred to be. You kind of come up in jazz playing jam sessions, So
yeah, that's sort of like that's what jazz is.
That's what jazz is, exactly. That culture. I think that's what makes it really cool. I think I would love to see more of that in metal. I would love to see maybe like a Lorna Shore featuring another vocalist on this one record. You know what I mean? Let me ask you about this. Even talk about Lorna Shore. I forgot the lead singer's name, but he's crazy with his voice, right? His voice is insane with the growls and the screams and stuff. Was that something you had to? Did you just
Get
naturally
acclimated
like?
to?
I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah, of course. I mean, with Linkin Park being my entry point into anything heavy, um, the element of sort of like more accessible pop stuff with because Chester does have a crazy good like extreme vocals, but definitely like at one point hearing anything that was considered extreme, the vocals was just like I can't, I just don't. But then once you sort of realize, oh, there's not one way to do it. A lot of times it just depends on how the technique and how they approach it, but also considering it not a melodic element of
Mm.
the music and considering it as a percussive element, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a lot of extreme vocals. It becomes that where it's percussive uh, instead of melodic, and that's kind of cool. That helps sort of like make it easier to digest that. But just with time, it's like the heavier the music gets, it's sort of like the more intense the vocals feel like they should be,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. I
And
think.
it go
No,
on.
go on, please, please.
Well, I just think like if you had a band it might be weird if Cannibal Corpse had just totally clean vocals. You know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
if
Right.
Iron Maiden vocals run Cannibal Corpse stuff, it could work. I think there are artists like that, but a lot of
Uh,
times it just doesn't mesh,
yeah.
and it's all finding what fits together. Um, yeah. There's
I
also
think.
there's like a few different lanes of extreme vocals. There's like the gutturals, like the Cannibal Corpse is very guttural. It's
Yeah. Mhm.
type stuff. Then there's I don't know if I clipped the mic or something. My bad.
No, no, you
Uh,
good. You good.
then there's like the mid-range stuff, which is like the death track you heard, Crystal Mountains. Very like it's
Yeah.
like a mid-range, like kind of like a bark, a yell. Like I'm not gonna try and do it right now. I don't want to. And then there's like highs, like in a lot of black metals.
Screams.
Like I think the guest you had, that what was her name?
Pain. Hmm.
Yeah, she was talking about like like it's like shrieks. I think she mentioned something
Yeah.
like it's sort of like
Yeah.
up there
Hmm.
stuff, and it's each of those have their own. There's different, there's ways to do it that you'll like and ways to you won't like, and it's case by case, very much so, But yeah, at one point I was like, none of that. It's all I can't. It's too much. There's noise. But then it's like later you come back to it and you're like, oh, this like you get that stank face and you're like, oh, you know what I
You
mean?
know, it's funny. You know how I approach the different types of gutturals and growls, screams, and all these things. I come in metal saying, okay, first of all, the misconception is that metal is that, right? It's just that, right?
Yeah.
You think every song sounds like that. Everybody does growls. Everybody does all these things, right? So that's a misconception already. So you come in and you realize, first of all, that's not true. That's one. The other thing is that when you hear the whether it's gutturals or whatever, um, I think what happened was I've come into it saying, look, I don't understand nothing here, so pull back, and then try to figure out what's going on first before you kind of place judgment as far as like if I like something or not, not judgment, but um, let me try to understand it first before I figure out if this is something I want to deal with or like or anything, whatever.
By
So
understand, do you mean just sort of like the music itself, the songwriting, the
so
composition?
so it could be a culture, right? So once you come into I'm in this new room. You talked about the museum. I'm in this new museum, and someone's explaining to me the artists, right? And if we're talking about growls, and I start saying, why do artists growl, or why is that a thing? If there's a history to it, or some context, or think something that happened in sound, or maybe sound shaped a certain kind of way, maybe they do this way, then that gives me an understanding of, oh, okay, I have some context. I know why they do this, so I can approach it differently when I hear it, right?
Mm.
So what happened was I started to look at instead of because people come in and they say noise, right? Oh, that's
Hmm.
noise, and I'm like, well, they're actually saying something. They're words, right? Sometimes a lot of times they're words. Now, if you, now learning how to figure those words out, that may takes practice, but it takes open mindedness to even allow yourself to try to hear and listen to it, right? So,
And most of the time, like to really get you'll need a lyric sheet, and
one hundred
then
percent,
like you could follow it. It's like if you can pick it up just from listening carefully. Sometimes it's impossible. Other times
for
you
sure.
can do it depending, but it's like it's definitely come secondary to just the music itself. The
But
the
see,
guitar is the
but you
focal
have to
point
learn that
most of the
too.
time.
But to your point,
Absolutely.
you have to learn that, right? It's like because I'll come in lyrics first. Well, obviously, the hip
Yeah,
hop has the beat under, and it kind of. But hip hop, you kind
lyrics
of
are
get
the
both of
focal
them at the
point.
same time. You got beat and lyrics. They don't overlap each other. They both kind of like a parallel universe. You get both of them the same. When I came into metal, I'm like, wait a minute. I like the music, but I don't know what he's saying. So now I can't listen. Not that I turn it off, but I can't process, right? But once I learned that, I remember one guy told me, well, the first guy who told me this, he said, "Hey, stop. Don't worry about the lyrics. Just listen, experience it." Now, what he did tell me, what I think was implied there was what it'll all come to you if you just allow yourself to enjoy, let the music come in, whatever, and then you'll start even eventually even just hearing things, even if the gutturals are deep, super deep, right? Now, to your point, some are just impossible. Some you need lyric sheet, right?
And that's
But
that's okay. It's like
yeah, that's okay. But I think what it was I started looking at it like instead of separating them like lyrics and music, just look at all of they're all instruments. No matter if you're
exactly.
clear or not, your voice on a track, on a music over music, is also an instrument. So if you look at it from that point of view, I
It's
can
an
accept
instrument.
it's an instrument, and then I can listen to this. I can listen to this, and I understand it. I don't know what he's saying, the words saying, but I can appreciate the music. Now, if I listen to it
Is it
long enough,
complementing the instrumentation?
exactly. So if I listen to it long, because I've also heard music where I've done that. Okay, music first, listen, and I'm like, yeah, but I don't like the words, even the cadence or the sequencing of the words. I don't
Hmm.
like them. So
Yeah.
that's happened. Obviously,
Sometimes that uh,
sometimes they work
m- metal artists can have a lot to learn in terms of cadence. They could learn a lot from. That's why artists that have sort of influence in hip hop, they tend to be great at hooks. If they have
for
a hip
sure.
hop background, because then they have that sort of in their catalog of tricks and weapons to put in their music. It's sort of like some some artists they just the lyrics will be an afterthought. It'll be and that's fine. What's cool is I would say if you had to say generally speaking, it's like the music and the lyrics, the focus and the breadth of what you're intended to get out of it is 80% the music, including the vocals themselves as an instrument,
For sure, for sure.
like the instrumental element of the vocals as like a percussive element or melodic, but like it's the vast majority of it. And if the lyrics if after you've digested it and then you go look at the lyrics, if the lyrics are good, then that's just like the cherry on top. You know what I mean?
For
There's so
sure.
many favorite artists of mine to where I know their catalog or like front to back, but I could tell you like barely any lyrics. Just because that's just how it goes sometimes. But then
Yeah.
you'll go look at the lyrics and you're like, oh, they're talking about something really philosophical
See,
or
that's the thing, and that's the thing for me. I think once you get that, see, there's songs I like. I heard, for example, I like Converge last album. Converge put out an album. I forgot the name of the album,
Converge is
but
great. Their last album,
yeah, yeah, just
the most recent.
last, literally the most recent. Yeah, so I listened to the album and I like the album. There's a couple of songs I don't know what they're saying, but I love the song. I love the song. I do. Now, I wonder how much I would love the song if I actually understood what they were saying, because that's a lot. That does a lot with the because a lot of times we can identify with sound, right? And whether
Yeah.
I'm dealing with like heartache, love, depression, whatever sound resonate with us in a certain kind of way, right? It's really biology at that point. But what happens is a lot of times is that if you take a concept and you identify with that, also the sound and the concept of what the song is about, it can reach you a little deeper than just sound can. So,
Absolutely.
you, right? So if I knew that if this song is incredible and I don't know what they're saying, and then I hear the lyrics and it's like one of the greatest stories ever told, or something I identify with
That makes
heartache
it
or
reach
love,
another level.
it's a whole other level you can get to, right? So that's sometimes I think it's important for sure, but also I don't want that to stop me from missing the greatness in what I experienced in the first place. So if it's just good to me and I don't know what they're saying, that's cool too. If I never hear the lyrics ever, that's cool. I still experienced it, but I also
They're
want
always
to know.
there.
They're always there. I can go find out. And there's lyrics videos on YouTube all day long. I can go here. I can go or hear what they're saying.
Are
But
there many like hip hop artists where you're like, I like his voice and his cadence and how he raps, but man, I just his beat choices I just don't mess with. Like,
Nas,
yeah,
100%. Nas was always regarded as one of the greatest rappers in the world, hands down. Universally, we all kind of agree. But his beat choices were not good.
is it? Can it be deal breakers with just consuming it as like on your own time? Like I go to this because
Yes.
the lyrics are that good.
So
And,
so
and the,
so with Nas, the deal breaker would be for a person like me can appreciate lyrics, appreciate songs. There's lyrics that I know are super dope, but I won't listen to the songs no more because I don't like the
yeah,
beat.
yeah, yeah. That's
So
what I mean. Not just appreciate, but like, oh, I'm still listening to this because there's like
no,
the performance and the lyrics are that fire.
I won't because in hip hop I listen different, right? I think there has to be a marriage, right? Now mind you, sometimes though the beat's okay, but the story is so compelling it can carry you. But that pretty much has to be a story in a sense for me, right? But Nas has universally been known as the best rapper with the worst beats. Here's the thing: when you put Nas over something that is incredible, then the results are what they are. New York State of Mind, If I Ruled the World. If you look at King's Disease 1, King's Disease 2, what he got with Hit Boy, the beats kind of match the dope lyrics. Now you have a Grammy. Nas finds himself with a Grammy now. So it kind of showed like, hey, yo, you need better A&R people. You need better people in your camp to say, hey, no, you need somebody to pick your beats. You need a producer.
You got too many yes men.
You can do 2DS man, and you can't do it on your own. You need a producer. That's why I say it. Now this is a side conversation, but for any artist out there, any artist, it's important to be produced. You have to be produced, right? You can be talented. You can be the best singer in the world. You can be the best rapper. You can be the best drummer, guitarist. Sometimes you need someone to be like, hey, that's too much, or take that out, or don't do that. Do this here. Quincy Jones, one of the greatest producers of all time across all genres of music, did not play an instrument.
Yeah,
That doesn't take away from Quincy Jones being one of the greatest producers and composers in the world, in music history. Quincy Jones didn't play an instrument, but can still compose a 28-piece orchestra. He still did Thriller. He still did Frank Sinatra. He still, because he knows what's supposed to be where things are supposed to be placed. Dr. Dre is one of the greatest producers of all time because he knows when you're supposed to be loud here, when you don't rap here. Say that hook. No, turn that part of the beat down. No, we need somebody on horns here. That's what a producer teaches you what to do when and put the song
Composition.
together. The composition. So with Nas needed a producer, not just a beat maker, somebody who make beats, someone who knows what goes where and when. And for so many years, he didn't have that because he was just so great of a lyricist that people bypassed it. But after so many complaints, you got to do something else, So yeah, it's kind of different. It's kind with rap.
It's so true. Like after like finding and discovering hip hop myself, as a musician and as somebody that I do produce. Like I went to school for audio production, and it's like because being making music, being in a band, as a teenager, it's like we can't afford to go to a studio. Let's do it ourselves, and so
Right.
and so through that, once I found hip hop, I'm like, "Yeah, I need to download FL Studio. I need to legally acquire FL Studio, and
Yep. Legally
and get
acquired,
it,
right? Right.
and I need to get into beat making. And I
Hmm.
realized out the gates, especially once you like show it to somebody,
Hmm.
you real like it's so easy to do too much on a beat, to put way too
100%.
much, to over embellish it, to where it
Yep.
becomes it's just a mess. Like like I mean, while I think over time, I've hopefully gotten better at that. Like when I started getting into like beat making around like 2016, 2017, that's when like trap was really popping off.
Hmm.
And so also being a drummer, I just went batshit crazy with the hi-hats on a lot of beats I was making to where it just became ridiculous. It's like, what are you trying? I'm like, uh, it's like it's too much. It's so easy to overdo it. And so knowing when to pull back is like there's an art to it.
It is,
That's
and it's to your point. Knowing when to pull back, it's because it sounds like someone's taken away from the art, but they're trying to bring you to a place where it's enough. And sometimes we don't realize we overdo it. Sometimes it's our love for music. And sometimes it's just us being like into ourselves on whether you're a drummer or a beat maker or whatever. You think you've done enough, but a producer hears the thing you don't hear. You know what I mean? They are their job is to bring the record into an end, right? Because with artists a lot of times we it's not ever finished. Kanye is kind of like that, kind of like evil
if there's
genius.
not a deadline, it'll never be finished.
It'll never, so Kanye is notorious for doing an album, especially now with streaming and how records are made. Kanye is notorious for doing an album. You buy that album, and then you go listen to you go to Apple Music and listen to that album 5 months later, and that song has been changed on the streaming service of an album you already
That's
purchased.
kind of wild. That's kind of crazy though.
But you can do that. But he does
Yeah.
that because technically, now here's the thing though. Whether we like it or not, his thing is it's art. It's never truly done. I'm an artist. So that could be a gift and a curse. It's
I
like, well,
think
I
that's
don't have that
cool. I
version.
think that should always be like that should be something that artists can do as the freedom to do that. But I would hope that there's an archive of each iteration. You know what I
For
mean?
sure. Yeah, for sure. If it's changed but I think that's off of that may be just a it may be consumer thing. For example, if I do if Kanye does an album and that album is released. So remember, there's the streaming versions, but there's vinyl that's released. I'm not sure how much CDs and stuff are released today. I'm not sure if that's even a thing anymore. I ain't
I
bought a
think
CD
people
in
buy
years.
cassettes more than they buy CDs these days, just
Right.
because of the
So
novelty.
so in that way, there's a tangible thing that keeps it intact, where you have a version of
A
this that cannot
permanence.
change, right? Which is pretty cool for, like you said, collectors or people who just like to hold things. I'm a big advocate on. I want to hold my albums. I want to hold my project. I want to hold my things because I don't want to live it in my phone or computer because it can be gone one day. It doesn't mean
Yeah,
anything. I remember what it was like to buy an album and then take the plastic off and sit in my car, pull the CD out, read the credits, look at the booklet,
it's
all
special.
the pictures. It's special. Read the thank yous and all these things. That was an experience in itself. Before you even press number one, play, right? That was an experience. But that experience is gone for the most part. You know what I mean? I don't like going to Apple and just press and play and I have your album. Why am I
Yeah.
paying $10 a month for everything in the world? That and it sucks for the artist, for you who do music and your band, you work hard as shit for your band and you guys practice and all this stuff like that. You put an album, 10, 13, 15 songs, and you only get uh 5 cents for every thousand or
Yeah.
every thousand play is a download for you, is a sale, is a copy. That's
Yeah, it's
insane.
crazy.
It's crazy. So
The fact that they've had to completely restructure how they measure like sales or it's like a platinum record, it's measured in a completely different way now,
for sure. And it
and that's
sucks.
so crazy.
It sucks. And that's why when these artists get these plaques, right? Now, the average civilian, they don't understand when they see an artist, he's standing on there with the 10 billion worldwide. For me, who come from an era where you had to sell hard copies, I'm I'm not as impressed because I know what that looks like, right? It's different when people are look when Thriller dropped, with you and I know, we know. When you talk about, first of all, SoundScan had to be created because they were selling so many records. That lets you know off already. We don't even know
Off
how
rip.
much Thriller. Off the rip, we don't even know how much Thriller sold because there was no system in place. And since they can't count so many records being sold, they had to create a system to keep up with this thing, right? Right.
Yeah.
And if you think about 30, 40, 50, 60 million records sold, we're talking about hard copies. That
Yeah.
means that mean millions of people left their homes to go purchase this album, right?
And that's almost unthinkable now.
It's unthinkable, right?
Wow,
So,
we
and
sound
I'm
we
not
sound like
comparing.
unks right now.
Right,
I haven't
you
been
know what?
looking at the live chat, but I'm
I think I'm resting well in my unk phase. I've embraced it
I
already at
just
this point.
entered it. I just turned 31, and now I'm
Oh,
starting to
okay.
be like,
Oh yeah, I'm
you
well
know.
into my unk phase. I'm embracing it. But but I
I
think
was an unk when I was 15, though. When I was 15, I was like, "Oh, modern music sucks. Uh,
but but you
only
know
the
what
classics." But now,
but
then you chill out. There's great
you
music
know
still coming out always.
you know why it's important to talk about even what we're talking about because if you talk about metal, you talk about bands, you talk about business. All of these things we're talking about is going to affect the music.
Yep.
So this genre that we all love, metal, right? We talk about the classics. You want to talk about the Sabbaths, all the way to the newest metal band, the metal group coming out tomorrow, whatever that band is, right? Coming up now. No matter what we're talking about, the music of tomorrow is going to be affected by how music is distributed and what happens. Because I remember I watched what's my man name from not who played
Motown.
no he's not a musician. I'm sorry, he's an actor. What's the big Hawaiian guy? Um,
Dwayne The Rock Johnson. No, he's not Hawaiian.
not the Rock.
He's Samoan.
I forgot my name. I forgot my man's name. I can't believe I forgot my name. He played. He was a Darth Rocky on Game of Thrones. He was the head of Darth Rocky on Game of Thrones.
I never watched
I
Game
don't,
of
I don't know if
Thrones.
you watch Game of Thrones. Well, he was also anyway. Him. He has a song called "On the Rome," Rome or something. I forgot "On the Rome" or something like that on HBO, where he does like he wants to like do all these things before he like leave the earth in a sense where he like wants to learn how to build a crazy bike or collect crazy guitars and all these things. It's a really cool show, and he talks about how wait, I just lost my train of thought. Um, Man, I had it right there. I lost my train of thought. I got to thinking about who was the guy so much. I lost my train of thought in that message.
Once you stop trying to remember, it'll come back to you.
Yeah, I know. Let me move on then. You also reading some old school stuff.
But yeah, look, just the people. I feel like we should acknowledge and say what's up, and you know,
Oh yeah, I appreciate. Let me see one of the best hip hop albums.
it's cool to
Oh, y'all talking
see.
hip hop in here. Cool Keith. Uh, okay, bro. Dale again.
I hope I'm representing. I hope people aren't like, "Who is this guy? He sucks."
No, man. This is about. But I think and to let the people know, this is about. This is a conversation
Community.
between community. Like I think it's important. I think you learn so much about each other and about who we are as metalheads, and we just want to have dope conversation. I don't want this to be a let me find a famous person to try to trick y'all for follows and views. For what? And to have a same boring conversation to tell you some shit you already know about this person, right? From
Yeah.
like all the rest of the interviews, I think the conversation is dope. I learned a lot here, and I'm learning a lot still. I have tons of questions. Jason Momoa, thank you, Jason Momoa.
One day, you're gonna be talking to him on here. I could see it.
Jason, that'll be so cool.
I could
That'll
see
be
it.
so,
I totally see that coming, dude.
that'll be
Because
so
that's
cool.
happened, with other, other. And I think that you put that
Thank
out
you,
there where
Chevy.
you're not just a reaction channel.
Yeah, I do want to do because the reaction. First of all, I love doing reactions because I get to hear new music daily, and I get the
Necro.
reaction
Somebody
to
mentioned
music.
Necro. Sorry to interrupt you, but Necro is really he's considered death rap.
Oh, Necro.
Yeah, you know Necro.
I wonder would that be considered with Necro? Now he would know.
Not the sound, but the aesthetic, or
No, for
the
sure. I'm saying so. So, for example, for those who know, there's an artist named Brother Lynch Hung. I wonder, would Brother Lynch Hung kind of be in that same category? Who's that? Evil Madrox? Evil Madrox? I hope I'm saying that right. Um, what kind of
brother
category?
what?
His name is Brother Lynch Hung. Brother Lynch Hung
Oh,
from.
I thought you said brother is hung.
No, Brother Lynch Hung. That's a that'd be a crazy name for himself. Uh, Brother Lynch Hung. I want to say, is he from Sacramento? I want to say anyway. He would be considered like not the Cannibal Corpse of rap, not as extreme, but
Yeah, I
kind
know
of
what you
like he
mean.
would. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
there's some really gory topics and the things he would be rapping about, right? Um,
You know Necro.
oh,
You know
horrorcore.
that
See,
album
okay,
cover.
he's
That album
considered
cover of
horrorcore.
Necro, where he has like the syringe. You know that album cover? I think it's called like "Music for You to Die To."
Wait, who? Who?
Necro.
Oh no, I'm not hip.
Yeah, you know about it?
No,
Oh, well, like the same guy that did that album cover, he did all the like so many classic thrash album covers, like Megadeth and Slay. A lot of those covers have an
Oh wait,
artist,
I just seen it on Instagram. I just seen that.
Ed Repka.
Yeah, replica. Yeah, it's replica. I see
Hmm.
he did two Megadeth albums. He did a bunch of albums.
He's
Yeah, I seen that.
so many, and so
Yeah.
yeah. There's so many like the crossover with like Ice-T, like Body Count. That's like it's people don't know about that, you know. It's just so cool. Like once I saw that I was waiting for the Body Count drop, and I was so happy you did that particular track because that track just is really good. And
So dope.
he
Yeah,
recently Body Count's been active recently.
dude. That's one person I also want to interview one day. I
I
think
can see that.
I said this before, and I think I said that on a body count reaction. People who okay, if you know Ice T from Law and Order, okay, that's cool. That's one version of Ice T, right? If you know him from just Body Count, that's another version
He's
of Ice
also
T.
an OG in hip hop though.
He's OG hip
OG.
hop, right? When you understand how important Ice T is to the culture, period, he's a lot. He's one of the ones, right? And I think he doesn't get now amongst the people, amongst the culture, he gets his just due in a sense. More,
Like the
more so the
people who
older
know,
crowd.
the people who know,
People who
they
know,
give it to
know.
him. They give him his
They don't
flowers.
know.
But for the
But I would,
casuals, they might not know.
they might not know. And he's such an important piece to hip hop. I mean, he literally was there and represented and out the whole time. Like you could see him. For the people who don't know, if you ever seen the older movies, Breaking One, Breaking Two, Breaking One and Breaking Two was Electric Boogaloo. Ice T was the rapper in both of those movies, those old breakdance movies from the 80s. Um,
Is that the
in a
one
for-
with the song Colors? Which
no,
movie was
that's
that?
that was Colors. That was actually Colors. But Ice
The
T
movie's
did
called
Colors.
Colors.
Movie, I see Roll Colors. Um, this is it's called Breaking and Breaking Two. You can Google them, you can stream them today. It's old breakdance movies from the 80s. So the Breaking One and
Oh,
Breaking Two would be
you
West
can't hear
Coast
like
version.
noise in the background, right? Like,
No.
okay, my roommate's
Breaking
in the garage, like playing. He's like playing drums, and there's loud.
No, we
I'm
don't
glad
hear
it's not
anything.
picking it up.
Nah. Breaking One and Breaking Two would be the West Coast versions of breaking hip hop at that time. Because remember, East Coast had their own. They had Beat Street, they had rapping, Beat Street, they had Wild Style. So they had the East Coast versions of that. But West Coast
You're
version
talking about
would be
like
Breaking One.
b-boys.
Yeah, B-boy. Breaking One, Breaking Two would be a West Coast version
Mm.
of not the same thing. I mean, like we put our own hip hop movies out, and that would be West Coast. And Beat Street and Wild Style and the other movies were East Coast. Um,
So
so
West Coast would be like Boys in the Hood, Menace to
no,
Society. What do you mean?
I'm talking about like the b-boying
Oh,
part
related
of
to
it.
like the music.
Hip hop. Yeah, just hip hop. So Breaking and Breaking Two was straight up just about breaking, pop locking, dancing,
I
hip hop,
see. I see. I see.
rap shit, right? East Coast versions of that would be Beat Street, Wild Style, Rapping, those movies. So because though we all came up in hip hop, obviously East Coast being first, um, East Coast being first, we on the West Coast we had our own style the way we did things off of the four elements, which is breaking, DJing, rapping, and breaking, DJ. Oh, breaking, DJing, rapping, and graffiti. Those are the four elements of hip hop. For those who don't know, but Ice-T was in both of those movies, Breaking One and Breaking Two. He was performing at a club called is it Electro Rock? I forgot. I think the club was called Electro Rock. Was the old club back in the day, and Ice-T was the rapper on stage. And if you look at him in his outfit, it was kind of metal. He had like spikes and stuff on, spike hats and stuff like that. Kind of like a rapping Judas Priest at the time.
Yeah.
That's what he looked like, But Ice-T deserves so much respect being on the scene and out like on film and TV since back then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All the way to now doing Law and Order. And Ice-T put out a new album this week.
Wait, like an Ice-T album?
Ice-T right now is putting out an album right now. Actually, I'm
gotta
glad we
peep
talked about
that.
that. Yeah, let me go to this page and see. Ice-T put out an album, a brand new album.
When's the last time he put out an album?
Man, years. It's like here it is right here. It's a Ice-T, my new album, Criminal Migraine, drops in it drops in August. Only available at icet.com. No streaming. F that. Sign up now.
Have any tracks been revealed?
No. Well, I think he had a listening party online.
I wonder what the production's gonna be like.
Oh yeah, no. July 11th. They say this Saturday, July 11th, 5 p.m. He had a
July. That's yesterday.
yesterday he had a full album live stream yesterday on his Instagram.
Oh shoot! I wonder.
But you can
what the
sign up for
production's like.
pre-orders. You can sign up for pre-orders on the OGNetwork.net or icet.com. Pre-orders of the album. But yeah, he got a new album dropping. Matter of fact, let me get the cover for y'all if I can find the cover.
All these beautiful people in here.
Questions. So I got you here too. Yeah. And shout out to everybody in the room, man. I appreciate you guys stopping by for hanging out with us today, man. Me and my man Paul, we want to have just a great conversation about metal,
How long's it
hip
been,
hop,
man?
our
I've been really
upbringing.
enjoying this. I could talk forever, man.
Hour and 37 minutes.
Really?
It's been cool, right?
Yeah, I'm chilling. By the way, like I can keep going. Like
Let me ask you this.
my leg and my ass cheek is like hurting. Like it hurt. That's why I'm like oh, my sciatic nerve. It's no, don't injure your sciatic nerve. That's my advice for everyone.
Man, that's
Don't do that.
so key.
That's how I know I'm in my 30s now.
I have a couple of metal history questions. What era of metal do you think is the greatest?
So would I mean, I think 80s would be. 80s would probably be the answer.
Like
Because
peak?
that's where it's, because 70s metal was still sort of in its infancy, even though like Sabbath 70, that's like the Sabbath, but 80s is where it hit a different level, where you have so much was created, like born in the 80s, like thrash and death, all like that's where the branches started forming,
Right.
And then, a lot of people say in the 90s, metal kind of died down because of grunge and stuff. But in the 90s, Pantera, that's
Right.
90s. And, death metal was still doing lots of cool stuff. And then, like Death, their best albums are out in the 90s, one thing about, like, history, I don't know, like, Death, they're considered, like, the godfathers of death metal. Like that's one of the first guys to do that style of vocal, like the sort of
Oh, no.
growls.
I didn't know
He's
that.
one of the first. Yeah, he's one of the first to do it, and he hated it. And
Now, why?
well, I don't think at first, but toward the end, he was like, he said like he in a perfect world, he wanted Ronnie James Dio to be the vocalist of Death. You know what I mean? He wanted
Oh,
that
wow.
type of thing. And that's just not how it went. But it's I think that that was just a thing where it keeps it. That's a deal breaker for so many people with metal. Is like they just can't get into it, and so. But that's I digress.
Yeah, that's crazy. I would, and to your point earlier, because you brought this up earlier. I wonder what a Dio would sound like with like Death or something like that.
There is. So the last thing that Chuck Schuldiner, which is the main guy in Death, like how Megadeth is like Dave Mustaine is
For sure,
the main guy.
for sure.
With Death, it's Chuck Schuldiner. After Death's last record, he had another project called Control Denied, where it's essentially instrumentally the same as Death, but he got a vocalist that's like a Dio type. So where it's very like melodic, but also intense and aggressive. And in some ways it really worked, and in some ways it's a little campy, a little. Some can consider it cheesy. It's just depends on it's perspective. I think it's pretty sick, but definitely it's easy for it to become corny. I think with the more operatic and melodic. That's why I think that sometimes it's just like, obviously this is really heavy stuff. We gotta have just aggressive vocals, because if we tried to make it, you know what I mean, then it just becomes like a bit silly, goofy. Some bands can pull it off. Some artists pull it off, but sometimes it comes like Sabaton's one artist that I mean, maybe I gotta try them again, but I saw them open for Iron Maiden, and Iron Maiden, that's one that's like, this is great, this is perfect, that's done, that's the way to do it. But the Sabaton was a little more heavy, but it was I felt sometimes it's just a little goofy, and I think like it's that whole power metal thing, that aesthetic, and that's just there's some things that are for some people, some things, you know what I mean? It's sort of like,
Right.
I love Rainbow and Dio, and he's very much in the wizard and the plans and the with the sword and the you know what I mean. Dio, he could do that all day, and
Right.
I'm with it, but I can understand why some people are a bit like, that's a little goofy, but I mean also that's what makes it's charming, and gives it a charm.
Right.
Sometimes people, when they're too serious, it just that becomes goofy when people are like so like,
I wonder what makes. So, for example, you have a genre like power metal, right? Which some people may think that. Then obviously, some people love power metal, right? I would, not that you have an answer, but we can just talk it out. How many people have to do a certain kind of sound for something to be considered a genre, right? Like if you have,
That's a
because
good
you have
question.
some super niche genres, right? We have some really super niche genres that may be silly to some people, but for it to be a genre, that means there had to be at least four or
Enough
five
people like
enough people
what's
to make
the
this thing. Yeah, what's the thing?
what's
like,
the minimum amount of acknowledgement? Like,
Yeah.
like, does it have to be at least this many people like refer to it as this? And that's
Yeah,
I feel like
it's
that's
not really
almost
an answer to it.
unanswerable, because
For
I
sure,
think
for sure.
groove metal is questionable as a genre, because just the groove, that's not a the groove is a rhythmic element.
I
There's
totally understand what you're saying. Yeah,
You know what I
totally
mean?
understand what you're saying.
It's
Yeah.
like Megadeth is groovy as hell. There's a lot of groove on, especially the first couple Megadeth records. There's a lot of jazzy grooves, but nobody'd ever call Megadeth groove metal.
Right, right.
But there is something to be said about like Pantera. There's so much groove that it feels necessary to sort of put an asterisk, like to where I understand it. But then sometimes it is splitting hairs. Like
Yeah.
there's a subgenre called war metal. It's like thrash, but a little bit more animalistic, I think. But it's like,
Can I assume they talk about war stuff?
yeah. But I mean, thrash
Okay,
already
okay.
does that.
Right, right.
It's
Yeah,
so
I think it's interesting where you have like pirate metal, and I'm like, well, how many people?
pirate metal. Yeah.
How many people have to do that for that
Viking
to happen?
metal.
Like, right? You know what I mean? Like,
Well, that's where it becomes niche, to where it becomes like a novelty thing, to where
Yeah,
It's
like
like,
novelty.
yeah, it's almost like, I don't want to say gimmick, because they're proficient musicians, and
For sure,
a
for
lot
sure.
of
Yeah,
it's
I
really
mean,
fun and cool, but
mhm.
it's definitely like, it's it's made for a particular thing. Like,
Yeah,
it's, like how, in the same way that, like, I don't want to say Weird Al's something different. Weird Al's parodies, but like, it's something that sits outside of the sort of realm of your average
for sure.
genres and subgenres. It's sort of like, oh, this is a deliberate, like, we're carving out our own little thing that you don't see don't see anywhere
Yeah.
else. Like, and that's cool.
What's funny is when I think about hip hop, right? Because as hip hop, as you would know, th- well, we don't identify it as that. We don't call it. There's not a bunch of genres, right? You
Yeah,
have
but
you have
there are so many different sounds, though.
there's sounds for sure. There's tons of different sounds, and now they may group them off. Like for example, this may be considered like backpack rap, right? Or this may be considered
Conscious rap,
conscious rap, or this is gangster rap, or this is all these things.
trap.
Trap, right? So technically, those would be considered subgenres. But nobody uses that, right? But here's the thing: I think the reason why it's important also is because this thing I love, or this thing you love, from this genre, sometimes it's almost like, and when I say this, I don't want to feel like or sound like I'm being gatekeeperish with what I'm about to say, but sometimes it's like with this thing you love, how can anybody come along and just attach themselves to it when, like, where's the core of the sound of what you're identifying with? Like for example, if for me, if I say, hey, we're gonna do, if me and you right now are gonna start an online band, and then we're gonna call it online metal, right? And then all of a sudden,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's not, and then we
To
can
have
attach ourselves
the gall to
the
be like,
gong,
we're
and
making something new.
just attach ourselves to it, and
Yeah.
then other people join because it's silly or whatever reason, and now it's a thing. It's online metal is a thing now, and then so it like forces everybody else to deal with that's a new subgenre of metal. And where's the line drawn when it's like, well, what makes this metal? What
It's
makes
like
this,
there has to be
you
something that
know?
distinguishes it,
Yeah,
that is identifiable, and that I think there's just a checklist of elements that you can uh, corroborate corroborate, what's the word, but it's like you put two bands next to each other, and then you have the checklist of the genre, and it's sort of like they hit this, they hit this, they hit this, they hit this, and that's online metal is a thing. I bet it is.
I bet it is too.
You know how the black metal, a lot of it aesthetically is like, refers to, kind of Satanism. Not all of it, but I mean, a lot of it is
Right,
sort
right,
of in
right.
that,
For sure.
leans
For
that
sure.
way. There's also unblack metal, which is
Really?
the opposite, where it's literally like
Like
like the
religious
most
kind of
popular.
sense?
Yeah, where the most I forget what the artist is called, but like there's an album called "The Fall of Satan," and it's unblack metal, and you know what I mean?
That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. It was just that's just
Let me ask you this: do you feel like if they didn't have subgenres? Well, I'm not gonna say they didn't have, but how you think it'll be viewed? I mean, I guess it would be a normal thing, but I mean, anyway, I'm gonna ask a question anyway.
I
How
feel
do you
like
think
my
it'll be
hair's
viewed?
progressively gotten more messy as I
But how do you
used to
think it'll
have
be
hair
viewed
down to
if
here.
you did? Oh yeah,
Yeah,
where's the old
a couple
pictures?
times. And so, like, I'm used to having long hair most of the time, and so, like, when it comes to styling hair, I'm just like a total. I mean, I don't know. I'm an idiot. You know what I mean? I go to Great Clips for my haircuts. I don't have a bar. You know what I mean?
Let me ask
Anyway,
you
I digress.
if you had is there a problem with it just being metal? If the elements are there, right? If the elements of metal are there, but I tend to talk about clowns or pirates or whatever. Like, and okay, this is clown metal, right? And
I would say the categorization is more based on sound than it is sort of like lyrical topics.
that's what I'm saying. So
Aesthetic
if the elements are there, that's
aesthetic
fair.
comes in a part of it, but the sound is mostly because that's how it's sort of like that's how, in the same way that music theory exists so that you can communicate ideas,
Right, right, right.
it's like subgenres are coined so that you know where to look for a certain sound that you want. You know, it's a way of um, making something. It's a convenience thing. You know what I mean? Because then if you just have metal for everything, to find a particular sound you want, you just be looking forever. And so it's
Yeah,
I think
that's
some
what I do.
people
I
treat
like
it
that.
as like, oh, this is like a, some people treat it like it's a like it's, this is our club. I want to make my own club. It's like a title. It's a um, like a trendy thing that's like, you know, some people treat it like that. But I think what it should be used for mostly is just like it's for a heuristic point, to where it's like
Right.
it saves you time. So you just get a sound that you want. Well, there's nothing wrong with making it its own, like a, turning it into a thing that has a camp and a novelty aspect to it. It's like it's all, it starts as a convenience thing, you know,
Yeah. I think,
and
but
that's all I have to
I
say
wrestled with that,
about that.
and I wrestled with that early on when I talked about subgenres in one of my videos. But if it's so much music being put out, and sometimes I do need to just go, if you're trying to explain thrash metal to me, but we don't have the subgenre thrash metal, then you're just like, hey, really fast. Do you like really fast metal or whatever? And I'm like,
It would
yeah,
be
but
like, it would take forever to give a whole biography for each sound,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. So I do like having a library of like knowing where to go, and also if I could view the thing or I hear the hear about these subgenres, sometimes I want to just go. So me doing reactions, it's cool that sometimes I have all these lists of bands that people suggested to go react to, but also when I don't want to go to the list, I might do I might Google like power metal bands or whatever kind of metal bands, and then I'll see what comes up, see what being mentioned, because I may look at it like, okay, I've done a lot of different bands and groups, but when it comes to the subgenres, I haven't really checked the different subgenres I've done or not. So, for example, I could have covered a lot, but I've never done
It might have been on
just
one
metal.
branch.
Yeah, there's a branch I never done, which I probably need to do because I want my page to also be well rounded and not just
Thorough.
there's for sure because the reaction channel is going to do. They're going to do Metallica, Iron Maiden. They're going to do the Black Sabbath, the famous, most popular, legendary bands ever, right? But I also need to do the bands where there's they weren't as big as these other bands, but when it come to like metal, they're like highly respected, but was never like on radio, never big. But I want to
Yeah.
do those bands too, right?
Oh yeah.
And I want to cover
There's
that a lot.
there's one I have that I want to put on your radar, even though I hate, because I feel like you're probably so inundated with suggestions. You know what I mean? To where,
I do. I'll tell you like this. I do. I drop, which I drop a reaction every other day. I can never have enough. I need because
so
think about it. If you guys don't send me as much, I'm gonna run out real fast.
this will be a litmus test for
Okay.
how legit the audience is.
Mm.
But I mean, I'm just playing. Take this with a grain of salt. But one band that is so vital and legendary in terms of the more, I would say, anything past thrash metal, the extreme-ish end, Coroner. Coroner, not Coroner.
Cor-
Coroner.
with a C.
Yeah, Coroner.
Okay.
Coroner. You know, they're so important, and so many artists that come after them refer to them as like pivotal part of them. I saw them recently at the Whiskey. They put out a record after 32 years of being like not putting out an album, and they came back, and the comeback album is it actually slaps. I can't recommend it enough. But Coroner, those guys knows that. Coroner, love them, and they're a three-piece: drums, guitar, bass.
That's it.
They were my gateway to more extreme metal.
Uh huh.
Because at one point I remember I couldn't like get into death, like it was just too much. But
Yeah.
Coroner was the gateway because they're considered like technical thrash or like I don't know how they have they're thrash, but they're very proficient in their there's a lot of classical elements and there's some proggy elements in there
Mm-hmm.
that but not too proggy to where it becomes like just like self-indulgent, you know, just sort of like it's yeah, I can't recommend it enough. It's that's if there's one thing I got to put on your radar, it's Coroner.
Corner.
Um,
I just put that to. I just add that to the list. Also, corner. You know what I want to do? I always want to do. For example, I asked Hayne. I do want to go towards somewhat. I don't want to be as open minded sometimes as I want to be. Sometimes I have to watch my.
well,
Uh,
sometimes so there's stuff that you see it and you hear maybe a smidge of it, and you're like, I know I'm not gonna fuck with this at least for some time. You know what I mean?
yeah, but it's not about the hearing or what I like part. More so about am I willing to go? Right. There's some corners in metal. It's like
Well, like Behemoth.
it's like Behemoth, but
I've seen Behemoth live.
so Behemoth. Me and Haynes probably in the comments probably laughing about this right now. Behemoth, only because the way I was introduced.
Oh yeah, it was not the why did
It was not.
the sleeve
It
did you
was not,
dirty?
I mean, one. I was not ready, and a friend did me dirty. Right,
Was it?
but
Let me guess. What song was it? The song "Oh Father, Oh Satan, Oh Son"?
I have no idea. But I knew when I turned
Because you
that
said
song
he
on,
started doing like a prayer in it or something.
immediately, immediately, I was like, "Whoa, what is this?" But
It's,
look,
it's
it was so shocking. I had to laugh after, but it was such a shocking thing. But also, you got to remember when that happened to me. That was Now I know Behemoth is different. I've done my research on Behemoth. I know they're different. But also, that was very early on when I was trying to figure out what part of metal is this, right? Like, what's up with the Satanist stuff? What's up with the so now I know now, but I know people playing characters. I know some people are real, but very small corner of metal are a lot of people really doing some different kind of shit, right?
yeah.
But at that point, I didn't know, and I came in with my misconceptions, so I was still asking and finding out and figuring out. You know, I didn't have enough. I didn't have a lot of friends in metal to explain all these things. Look, Haynes laughing.
and also
Haynes laughing at me. But
also there's so many people that are like they consider themselves like big metal fans and that will they'll just have the wrong information too a lot of the times and a lot of
yeah,
times
for
grain
sure.
of salt like I was there's probably things that I said that where I was inaccurate on but like there's even different vibes of like Behemoth, Nurgle, the guy, he's an actual, if I'm not mistaken, he's an actual Satanist, but it's a different brand of it compared to like, what was the guy from Dissection? He's also a Satanist, but they're totally different people in
Yeah,
terms
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah, for sure.
their character.
For
You know what
sure.
I mean, I'm not, I'm not super knowledgeable on this, but I know that there's different. In the same way that, like in Christianity, there's like Orthodox, there's Episcopal, there's Lutheran, all that.
For
There's
sure.
kind
For
of that
sure.
same thing with Satanism, and I think Nurgle and Behemoth, it's a very much a like they don't believe they don't believe or he doesn't believe in like there's an actual deity of Satan. It's sort of like it's a more of a it's a um I feel like I shouldn't speak on it because I don't know for certain, but it's sort of like it's more of a it's a faith in yourself, I guess. You know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
sort of a it's not worshiping like the biblical Satan. It's sort of like Satan is an idea of like that's sort of conquering your own destiny and all that stuff. I might have butchered that entire thing, but like it's different. It's a different thing to where that makes Behemoth more approachable in that he's using this aesthetic because it's just a cool, it's like undeniably just cool aesthetic, it's badass, but the philosophy isn't like let's put evil out in the world and do evil, you know what I mean?
Right. I think,
It's
and
a
that's the
philosophy that's different that I'm not super knowledgeable on, you know what I mean? I have a Christian background, I would say if what I mean I'm still I'm still wrestling with God, as they say.
For sure, for
You
sure.
know,
I
and
think, I
so
think, I think, I think what it is for me. Um, I have me and Hayne. We've talked about this tons of times. For me, it's more so where are you coming from,
I just stepped
and
on a sticker. Look at that.
what, what or sticker for real.
That
Um,
was evil. That was
for
God
me,
saying, "Hey, enough of that."
for me, for me, for me, for me, it's more so where are you coming from? What do you mean?
Where's your
And
heart?
where's your heart, right? But also, here's the thing: because now say if I'm listening to someone who, for example, quote unquote, they are non-theistic Satanists, meaning they don't actually believe in the devil, right?
Yeah,
Or
that was
believe
a
the
way better
devil
way
is
than
a
I put it. I put it in a really dumbed down way. Non-theistic was what I meant.
right, right. And so, but also they're playing a part, and they're playing this, and the music is appealing to or holding up or not praising in actual praise, but the music is holding up
It,
Satan as this deity thing. For me, I'm like, for me, that's too much for me because in no way do I play with that. And what I mean by that is that there's enough music for me to never have to like this one song, or
yeah.
never for me to like this one
Do
thing.
you mean like the artist's intent behind that, or whether it's like, oh, this is just the gimmick, this is the like
Well,
the aesthetic?
here's the thing. Let's go super extreme, right? Let's say somebody has a song called, which I'm sure somebody does, but let's say we have somebody has a song called "I Love Satan." It's just basically called "I Love Satan," right? And the whole song talks about how he loves Satan, hell, Satan, all these things, right? Mind you, also on record, that's the most times I ever said those words together, back and forth, ever out loud. But but my says this artist, right? Says this artist had that song, and but I also understand that that artist is not a Satanist at all, right? They just maybe it's what happens where they were like
It's a
bullied at
horror
one
movie.
point, or the history thing where enough Christians were evil to them, so they're just doing things to piss off the Christians, right? Which I
Yeah, it's a
understand that
rebellious
happens,
thing. That's rock and roll, you
rebellious
know.
thing, right? So that can happen. Now, I can understand that situation and understand how they got there. I just won't listen, but I can't. I won't listen to that song. I just understand Christians were evil to them, and instead of instead of instead of you showing someone Christianity in a loving kind of way, you were evil to them. So it's funny that you would use evil to try to scare them by telling them they're evil,
Mhm.
right? And now they've gone away. You pushed them away from Christianity instead of bringing them in, right? Which is ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. So I can understand how they got where they are, but that don't mean I'm gonna listen to that song
What
that talks
about the
about their love.
distinction between just sort of topically using it as an aesthetic, not necessarily praising it, but it's sort of like just talk like how Slayer. I think you did Angel of Death, right?
I did. Well, Angel Duff, but Angel Duff was specific to a actual thing, right?
Yeah, it was
If
more
we're,
historical.
yeah, about an actual person who was. It wasn't saying it was a person who was doing that evil shit, right? But if we're talking about like how it may be a pentagram at the show or as a up down cross being set on fire. For me, I'm like, hey, and what I believe that cross is a real thing, and I would never set that on fire. So I wouldn't play with that. You can people can understand. Now I'm not going
That's
to shit on
fair.
you and your music,
There's
but
enough music for me to not
there's
have to.
enough
I
for
don't
me
need
to,
it.
you know what I mean?
I
But
get that.
also, here's the thing: I also wouldn't criticize in a way that maybe your average Christian would. When I say average Christian, I'm not saying like I'm better than
Respect.
anybody. I'm not. I'm just saying like people live their lives the way they want to live their lives. If you ask me, or we have a conversation about heaven and hell, Jesus Christ, Christianity, we'll have that conversation. But I'm never going to say, "Hey, Paul, I'm hey, I want to talk about this right now and force this on you." I'm not going to never do that. If the conversation introduces itself, we'll talk about it. But we also going to talk about it in a loving way. I'm never going to say, "Hey, you're going to hell for this." I'm not. You know what I mean? Even with what I believe in, what would send people to hell, there's a way I would let you know that also. But it's never going to be how the reason why Satyricon made that song, or the reason why these
Yeah.
kids who were bullied in school by their parents and by the neighborhood or by the church, why they turned into Satanism. It's never going to be that kind of, because that's the wrong way to do it. It's not true Christianity. I know people hear that on the internet a lot, where they oh, that's not true Christianity, but it's not. It isn't by no way of. If it isn't with love in the way you talk to people and try to invite and introduce them to something, it's not Christianity. I don't care what they sound like. I don't care if they got the Bible open in front of you and they claim to know it. Even the devil knows the Bible. So I would never put that on nobody. And I'm sorry we went on this little religious
Don't be sorry.
spirituality rant, but I need people to understand when I say me being a Christian is because of what I believe. That's fine. But also, I'm open minded. I'm here in the middle of metal because I understand metal in itself is not satanic. It's a music and it's an art form. And just like any other religion, group, art form, whatever, there's always people inside that are going to misrepresent the thing that you love. Always. So that's why
And
I
so
have
many
to,
off, and so many
you know,
times it's because well, it started that way. In that it's because it was offensive or shocking and rebellious. That's sort of like kids and are gonna resonate with that because
sure.
f you mom and dad, like you know what I mean. It's
And,
sort
and,
of
and the reason why it got so big with the FU mom and dad was because as a mom and dad, you didn't understand it. So what you did was say it was demonic and evil.
yeah.
Now, if you heard a song, you looked at some kids wearing all black one day, and you said, "Hey, you guys are evil. You're going to hell." How? Why would you say that? Why would you do that to kids? Why, right? And then, what are they supposed to do when they're actually listening to? If I look, I could be listening to. If I'm listening to Mastodon, right? Or we talk about the Leviathan album. No, not the Leviathan album. Is it Leviathan album? Moby Dick?
Leviathan.
Was that the album? What? No, no. I'm sorry. What's the Mastodon album with the whale on the front? I forgot
Um,
the.
um, I'm brain farting. The one is it's not called Moby Dick. What's it called?
No, it's
Oh, I
not.
feel like
But
an
but
idiot.
anyway, but that album though, right? If I'm listening to that album and just because it's metal, you saying I'm listening to devil music, you like, wait, what? Did you hear it? Did you listen? Or like where are you getting this stuff from?
Yeah.
Right? So it's like Black Sabbath. I remember an old interview with Ozzy Osbourne talking about how he said when he was in the early stages of Black Sabbath, they would be invited to like Satan mass, a lot of evil mass back in the day was a bunch of Satanists. And
And
then
they're like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Ozzy said, "Hey, wait, what? What do y'all think we doing? Like, who do y'all think we are?" But it's because they just thought that the way they dressed and the music, the way the music sound, that they were this thing. And Ozzy like, "No, we're artists. What you mean we're not that, right?" And so,
It's also insane that it just goes to show how people say, now with like clickbait and just how people don't like do their research and people just like go with like what the headline is. Even in the 70s with Sabbath, on their third record, in their third year in the game or whatever, the Master of Reality, there's a song on there called After Forever, and it's the most pro-Christian song in their catalog. It's like the lyrics are literally pro-Christian.
yeah,
It's incredible, and somehow they still got lumped in with that, and it just goes to show it's sort of like
people don't have an understanding about anything, and this goes way past religion or anything else. When people don't have understand something, they attack it.
that's
Period.
fear,
You can say
fear
that
of the
about
unknown,
racism, sexism, homophobia. You can say that about anything, any ism or ist across the board. When people don't understand it, they
autism. I'm
attack
sorry.
it. That too, autism is the same thing. They attack it. They don't understand. They'll
Tool
say,
schism.
yeah, schism too, right? But they'll attack it, and that's the problem. I think it was important that when I got into metal and I started asking these questions, no matter what anybody thought or made me feel, I started asking these questions because look, I know at that point I like this music, and if I'm going to be here, I need to understand where I am, right? So if you guys can help me explain to me where I am and what's going on, then I can move forward because I don't want to bring me and all my preconceived notions and all the bullshit I learned and heard about whatever this is. I don't want to bring that in here, right? So I want to hear from you guys, which are the source. You guys tell me what's up. And after I started talking to people, making the videos and the comments and everything, I learned. I gained friends, Hayne, my man Chappie. We all sat down. We talked about these things, and I'm like, oh, okay, it isn't anything of what I thought. Oh shit, And so I got to thinking like, damn, it's so many people that don't know this, right? It's so many
You know,
people that still act like it's the Satanic Panic era, right?
it's
So many
shocking
people.
how often you'll find like younger people like Gen A,
Mhm.
like kids that are still like in high school, and they'll hear something that's like metal or something, and they're like, "Oh, this is like that. This is the devil music," and I'm like, yeah, I think they'd be more hip to at least
Like
knowing
what
that.
you because what happens is the fear is still there, right?
Mm.
The fear is still there. The trauma's still there. The programming is definitely still there. So
But I think
it,
also a little bit. That's kind of a part of what makes at least heavy metal. A little bit of that fear is sort of like gives it that sort of edge to it. But at the end of the day, it's like you want to. It's open to anybody and everybody. You know that
but but to your point though, yeah, yes, right, and you're right. Also, the fear is somewhat necessary, right?
something
But
enticing
also,
about it being dangerous, though. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
for sure, for sure. I think also if we accept it as part of the art form. Look, here's the thing. Somebody in the comments said, I wish I highlighted earlier. Somebody in the comments said, I forgot the guy's name, but one of the guys from Slayer is a Catholic, right? I forgot his name.
Tom Araya,
Tom Ryan,
the
right? He's a Catholic,
singer, bass
right?
player.
Now, we all know this. Well, I'm not. I mean, I didn't know, but I'm saying like people who know, they know. That don't take away from Slayer being Slayer. That'll stop you from going to the because he's not quote unquote keeping it real. If you think that's devil music, or if you think whatever, you know what I mean. So I think it just shows like the open mindedness is what's needed first. Like you know
Always.
where not to go. I know where. I know where if I hear something, I'll ask, "What is that? What is that about? What is that artist about?" When I ask Hayne, ask Hayne, the anything heavy. Um, if you see me do Satyricon or if you see me do Cannibal Corpse, that's only because I asked Hayne to give me something that the people would not expect me to react to. That where in the hell would he even end up at to be listening to this, right? I asked her, and she says like, "You sure?" Right? And because she knows my background, she knows where I'm from, but also she knows to protect me and not put me somewhere where I don't want to be.
Protect you. I
She
would
does.
hope that in the future, I feel like I could be in your court in terms of like what's something that is in that category of like something that's unexpected that
For sure.
sort of takes you out of your comfort zone, but it's something that has elements that would resonate with you, like how doom metal has that
Yeah.
groove.
Yeah.
That's something for you to latch onto to where if other elements that are out of your comfort zone are accessible because there's something for you to cling to. That's you know what I mean? Because there's
I
so
like
much
the
metal
yeah.
like that has that element of like, oh man, this is intense, but just the
Right.
groove is or the you know it hits a certain nerve, and that's what makes it beautiful. Like and
That
one thing,
I want to do that because I like I said, it's tons of reaction channels, right? And people doing some of the most popular stuff. But what will set me apart? And not for the sake of just being set apart. I'm saying I want to learn. I don't want to. If I take the easy
you're
route,
already setting yourself apart, man. Like from day one, it's different. Just in the consideration you took and everything you digested, and the fact that you didn't hesitate to talk about yourself. You know, some people are very much like they're there because they know that there's. I mean, it's not like there's a whole lot of profit to be made, but it's sort
right,
of
right,
like
right.
there's a way of doing it that's very formulaic that a lot of people cling on to. They go
Mhm.
like in the thumbnail, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I hate that too. I want to say I'm glad you brought that up. I noticed that I hate those over expressive thumbnails.
You know, the Home Alone kid in the thumbnail
Yeah,
is like it's like you don't play to any of those, and I think the metal community they're very much like they appreciate authenticity, and they're you know they tend to not like um, inauthenticity. That's like
yeah, for
it's
sure, for sure.
that's a
It's
big part
almost
of it.
like don't. It's almost like don't play with us. Don't play like, because you like
Just
metal,
be
we like
real.
metal. Yeah,
Even if
just
you
be
have an
real.
opinion that's like you know that doesn't that's different. It's sort of like as long as you're honest,
Yeah.
that's like that's
Look, because you can't like everything. You
I don't
can't.
know.
It's not even realistically. It's not realistic that every reaction channel I mean, every reaction video I do, I'm gonna
If
like
you praised everything, it would be like people would be like, "Nah, this guy."
like
You know what I
what?
mean?
Yeah, it's not even real, right? It's
Yeah.
like it's not even a real thing. They need to see me be confused on camera about what I just listened to, or a video I just saw, or scared, or maybe a little disturbed by what I just heard,
Like your
or
first time you saw Ginger, man, that was great.
yeah, I did.
That's a super popular one that a lot of
They
people go
watch,
to because it really is like it's a shock,
they
you know.
watch me.
And
Not
I
only
think
do I-
everybody immediately after is like, "Yo, I think I'm in love," you know.
Yeah, they watch it
I
happen
can
on
see you
camera.
interviewing her one day,
They,
Tatiana from Ginger.
that will be absolutely amazing. Look. That's the plan. The plan is that, I mean, for sure, Tati, for sure. That's marriage and a whole different thing. But outside of that, that's the plan is to interview or talk to great people about. Here's the thing. I do
That's
want to
why I
talk
brought
to.
up that friend of mine. I can see. I haven't talked to him, but I'm sure
Oh
he would
yes, for
be.
sure,
You
for
know,
sure, different. Yeah, because also it's not about interview per se about them. Yeah, I mean, it's about them too, but more so about like the
the story.
conversation in the background, the history of all these things about what you think. You know what I mean? Because interviews are, I can do interviews, just ask you a bunch of questions, you answer them. But if we have the conversation like you and I were having, we've been talking for exactly 2 hours and 15 minutes. I may have asked you from my phone 3 questions. I got tons of questions, but I only asked you about 3 questions maybe from the phone. That means the rest of it has just been organic conversation flowing through, which I
And
think
that's what
people will
people like.
appreciate. You appreciate it more, right? You get to actually know each other or see where you're coming from. And the questions are more so like, because I have random questions all day in my head. Like I'm listening to music and I'll say, well, what genre is this? And how do you explain that genre? Or why is, I remember I asked Hayne on the last live, what's the difference between black metal and death metal? Because I didn't know, you know,
Mm.
and so I want to know like what about what makes progressive and groove not clash when progressive tells me not tells me just my idea of progressive means like what, like I would take metal and expand on the sound, but couldn't that be anything? So I have these questions about it that I get lost in, but I want to know,
I
you
didn't.
know.
I think halfway through, like the two of you talking, the most recent one, the
Mm-hmm.
recap.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get to that part though. That sounds like a super interesting topic. Like progressive and groove, they're kind of in some ways antithesis to each other because progressive is trying to a lot of times divert expectations, and
Yeah.
groove, that's like a groove is something that you could get into the pocket and you stay there. You're in the groove. You know how it's going. But
Yep.
progressive, it's sort of like it might throw you off. You might fall off the train, every 7 beats because the
Yeah.
beat is an odd time signature. You know what I mean? But then progressive can become groove if once you decode it. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's interesting, and that's gets super nerdy in that regard. But yeah, that's all those things that come to your head are like things that, at least speaking for myself, want to hear, because then that allows us to look at things that we may have either never considered or
Hmm.
didn't appreciate. That, oh, that's something that like is like innocuous. What's the word? It's like something you don't even think about anymore. Like
Yeah.
even the production, like how I hadn't thought about in years or in forever, how, like the way metal's produced, where like the placement of the instruments in a in a in a in a production in a beat, you
Hmm.
have a stereo image of like what it is, and like in hip hop, I don't really know what the standard is because it's different every time. It seems like I mean, generally the drums are it's like kick and the snare in the center, and
Yeah.
all that. But like with metal, it's like hard pan left guitar, hard pan right guitar. They might be stacked to multiple tracks, bass in the middle and all that. But there's elements to that are stuff that I wouldn't even think about before. But it's I digress. Sorry, I'm
Yeah.
getting off on tangents now.
No. I think it's cool. I think that's how actual conversations happen. So I don't want to start nailing us down. But I think I appreciate what my man said here.
Oh yeah,
Easy,
talked over that
yeah,
whole thing.
easy cake. No, I mean, but I think that helps. I think it helps because when it comes to some of these genres, okay, this is the question I would ask, and it's kind of the same thing, but I don't know if anybody in the comments knows the answer.
Gojira is like prog metal that's groovy. That's
I did Gojira too. I did Flying Whales.
Mm-hmm.
I think Flying Whales is the song.
Oh, go ahead. What
Is
were
it
you gonna
Flying-
say?
so coming out of hard, if I let me know if I have this correct. Coming out of hard rock, heavy metal was formed. No or yes?
Yeah, I'd say that's fair to say.
Coming out, okay. So what about coming?
hardest hard rock? Like you got to like Led Zeppelin is like
Yeah.
the quintessential hard rock. You know, Deep Purple.
Lean up a little bit.
Deep
Yeah,
Purple,
okay.
Led Zeppelin is like where hard rock is the hardest rock you get to, and then Sabbath it was like this is different. Go on though.
Okay, so now from heavy metal, we go into what?
Thrash is kind of the first that was like deviating from that.
Okay.
Thrash and like the first wave of black metal, which I think, forgive me, I know she's in here, but what was her name? So you spoke to her before.
Hayne.
Hayne. I think she talked about like the first wave of black metal with like Venom, which was kind of predates thrash, where like it sounds kind of like it's like heavy metal, basic heavy metal, like Motorhead, but it's sort of like it brings in aesthetics that would later become foundational in the second wave of black metal, which is
Right.
sounds different. But like, okay, so like hard rock to heavy metal, that's like Black Sabbath, and then I would say Metallica is a big. That's where like, oh, this is more than just heavy metal. This is thrash. And then Death
Okay.
is like, oh, this is more than just thrash or heavy metal. Death, this is death metal. And then stuff like Dark Throne, this is like not death metal. It's extreme. It's not thrash. This is black metal. This is a different aesthetic. And so it's like there's different, and there's other artists that could represent that. I'm not saying that Dark Throne is the one that changed it, but I mean they're in that era.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's it's just there's handfuls of artists that pop up at certain times that you could kind of everyone could point to be like, oh, this is a different lane that started getting carved out.
Do we have? You know what genre
Yeah,
I've never. I've never. I don't think. Here's the thing too. Okay. I don't want to forget my question, but I feel like I want to deal with this glam metal thing also.
What was your question?
Should I go with the question first? Okay, let me go with the question first. So, damn, but I want to talk about the glam metal thing.
Yeah, I'll write it down.
Okay. So, what genre I haven't done yet. And correct me if I'm wrong with if this is the name of the genre. Is it speed metal?
Speed metal is it's essentially thrash metal, but it's maybe it's a kind of a precursor to thrash. Speed metal and thrash metal are kind of the same, but thrash metal might be more intense and more about war and intense topics.
Mm-hmm.
But like people would call Megadeth speed metal, in the early days and stuff. And there was stuff that kind of there's stuff around that time like not Anvil. Are they speed metal? The like a lot of Metallica and Megadeth, like their influences that they would be considered speed metal. God, somebody in chat, what was one of the speed metal bands like the Metallica would open for them in the early days? Like speed metal bridge the gap between somebody. What did they say? That sounded like a good thrash and power. Speed metal kind of. I could see it kind of being. Power metal seems like it's separate from speed metals, but speed metal and speed metal's thrash. I'd say don't even trip on getting hung up on that.
Right.
It's
okay,
but that's just me. That's just me. But I feel like that's why you don't hear speed metal a lot because it's just like you could just call it thrash metal.
Okay, glam metal.
Glam metal.
So
it's like glam metal and hair metal are like the same thing.
Same thing, right? So okay, why doesn't? And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm off. It just I don't know. Why doesn't
Pantera go back to that?
metal,
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, glam metal part, right? So I don't feel like it gets the respect due.
Because in a lot of ways it was aimed at just
Girls.
getting You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Got it. I got it. I got
There,
it.
there was just like,
I got
you know,
it.
Dave Mustaine from Megadeth famously said, and no homophobia here. I mean, love everybody, all that, you know. But he famously said, "Glam stood for gay LA metal." You know what I mean? And that
Oh
was
shoot.
you know what I mean? Because they're all dressed like women, you know. But it was,
Yeah, yeah.
but it was meant to
Like,
it was meant to
like
pick up
lace
women. But
and
it's sort of
like
like,
tights and lates and stuff like that. Yeah.
yeah, and
Mhm.
you know, not to say that like Motley Crue, they put out some great stuff, and it's like
Yeah.
there's still gems in there and stuff, but definitely a lot of it was sort of like the intent. It didn't feel genuine. It was like, oh, you're not making this because you're passionate about what you do.
Oh,
You're
you
just
making fun of
trying
women.
to you're trying to be commercial
Trying to
because
score. Trying
that's
to yeah.
trying to
I
get
remember.
money.
I listened to what's my man from Twisted Sister?
D.
Um,
Snyder.
D. Snyder. I remember D. Snyder say in on one, a documentary I watched. He said it's funny because I think it was it Headbanger's Journey. I forgot, but I forgot what documentary I watched. He said it's funny because we would wear like lace and our nails painted and like I wear like a skirt or something like that, whatever. He said I would wear. He
Raven.
said,
Somebody said Raven. That's what I was trying to remember earlier. Speed metal.
oh, Raven. Okay, okay.
Okay, go
Um,
on though.
Yeah, somebody said D. Snyder said he says funny because we would wear lace and and makeup sometimes and big hair, whatever. He said, but and then we do it would be a show full of like guys, but it was like for the women. He said it was weird, kind of like a weird thing. Like he said, but
Yeah,
he said
they're
it
an
worked.
outlier for sure.
Yeah, he said it worked. He said it wasn't for the guys in the building, but he said there was an understanding that we dress like this for them, not them. We dress like this for the women, not the guys.
Well, also I think
But
the music too is a big part. If there, it's like there's nothing inherently wrong with having that sort of aesthetic, that sort of
right, right,
androgenic sort of thing. It's like it's all it's an act. It's a character. I think also if that's paired with music that is overtly trying to be poppy and just like formulaic, then it's sort of like it sits wrong, you know, with a lot of people.
yeah,
I mean, not that there's even anything wrong with that. You can do
for
that,
sure.
you know. It's sort of that's a lot of people's problem with it. But I think like with Twisted Sister, I don't know their music too well, but they were also just raw. The music was like it wasn't trying to be super like, you know
Yeah,
what
for
I mean,
sure.
like.
You
And
know
so
what too?
that's why probably.
You know what I realized? I realized that, and let me know if I'm wrong here too. This is just a thought. Glam metal. So glam metal pretty much died with glam metal, and the era of glam metal. So what I mean by that is that for example, thrash has been here since thrash metal, right? Thrash, let's say death metal, black metal. We talking about since the coming of these different genres. There's a
You're
new
saying glam metal's
thrash.
dead.
So right. So there's a new thrash metal band being created right now, right? There's a
Yeah.
new death metal band coming out right now today that's brand new in 2026, right? Glam metal kind of died with the era of glam metal. There's no new
Mostly,
glam
mostly,
metal
yeah.
band, right?
Mostly, yeah, but I would say I think there have been newer artists that you could consider glam. Like I don't know, Steel Panther I think is one that's newer-ish, but they kind of leaned into it, like to where glam metal died,
Uh,
but
yeah,
then newer artists came back to like bring it back in a way that sort of was self-aware. You know what I mean?
okay,
And
okay,
that like, oh, now we're just gonna really play this up. Like it's gonna be super, you know, obnoxious, and that just kind of became the sort of gimmick. And that's not in a
right.
negative sense, but it just made it. I think Steel Panther did it successfully because they made it fun, you know.
Mhm.
In the same way that like kind of people could say thrash died for a while, but then in the late 2000s, early 2010s, there was a huge revival. Like that's when I was in high school. That's kind of I felt like I was a part of that scene, the revival of thrash, where there was all these new bands coming out, and it was exciting, and it was self-aware in so many ways that there became a lot of jokes in the thrash metal
Mhm.
scene. I'm sure a lot of people watching would know about this. That like, there's a certain lane of thrash that's like, we're gonna talk about partying. We're gonna talk about. We're gonna talk like the symbols of like new wave of thrash is like there's a radiation sign, pizza and a beer. And there's bombshells going off in the background. Like there's an aesthetic there that became
Yeah,
kind of campy, like Municipal Waste. they have an out. They're a thrash band or crossover thrash. They have an album
Uh-huh.
called The Art of Partying, and it's just like fun. It's fun as hell, and it's goofy. Yeah,
Yeah.
Violator, sick as hell. They're from Brazil. Um, yeah, there's a when there's a self awareness like that, it can be really fun. But I forget where we were going with that. I kind of went off right there.
I love it. That's what
I
happens.
gotta take you. Have you been to a show yet?
No,
At any type, bro?
no. My first show is
Oh,
in September.
what are you seeing?
Iron Maiden, Anthrax, and Megadeth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw the three of them played a show. I saw them. It was the same lineup, like
Oh,
probably
really?
almost 8 years ago. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I'm going to see Iron Maiden
This is
tour
This is Megadeth's. Like they're gonna be done soon. I
for
think
sure.
too.
That's
They're
why I'm glad
wrapping it up.
I'm glad I get to see it.
That's
I'm
so
super
great.
excited. I'm super excited. But yeah, I do. I was invited to a show. I couldn't make it. A guy hit me on Instagram one time about he was going to an Exodus and Overkill show here in L.A. And
Ah,
I was mad as hell I couldn't make it. I already had something going on. I was doing. I
sometimes
couldn't
tickets
make
can
it.
be pricey too for the bigger bands. I was gonna say I want to take you to a show like that's at a bar in L.A.
Yeah, so I'm with that. I want to do that. I would want to go. Man, hell, let me know. Yeah, I would love to
There's
just
a
go.
band. There's a
Yeah.
band I love. They're a black thrash band, so
Mhm.
it's thrash metal with blackened flavors. They're called
Mhm.
Witch Haven. They're from
Mhm.
L.A. Coolest dudes, like they're homies of mine. Played shows with them back in like 10 years ago,
Mhm.
and they're always playing gigs in L.A. area. And they're oh god, it's just some of the best shows are like bar shows or like even a backyard show. Some of the most lit.
Really,
It's so great. Yeah, it's great, and that
dude, let
doesn't
me know,
cost you an
bro.
arm and a leg. Yeah,
Yeah, I can't. That's the one part. It's funny because I'm getting into metal and I'm looking at the prices of some of these shows, but I also follow these pages where it's like legendary moments in metal and all these things, and I'm looking at these old flyers to go see Iron Maiden for $10.50.
15 bucks. It's crazy.
Right,
It's
15
so
bucks.
messed up, man.
I'm like shit. I missed that, but dude, hey man,
But
look,
also some of the go on.
no, please go ahead.
Some of my favorite shows have been. It's like if the band has a good following, people that love them, but they're not selling records like crazy.
Mhm.
Like if they have a dedicated small fan base and they play like
Yeah,
a small show at a small venue, they're the best. And because like you can be right there and the artist is right there. One band that I've seen so many times, played a few shows with them. They're called Warbringer.
Mhm.
The shows are so electric. It's really it's gosh.
nice.
And in terms of like moshing, being in a mosh pit, you'll be good. You'll be good. I know. I don't know how tall. I don't know how tall you are, but like
I'm 5'8".
people aren't out to like hurt you. And if
Mhm.
there's somebody there that is, people will
Yes,
see that and
for
they'll
sure, for
handle
sure.
him. They'll
Yeah, for
handle him.
sure.
If you fall
I love.
down, people pick you up. Um, you know, I'm first time I remember being nervous to go in a mosh pit, but it's like if there's enough people there, then what's dangerous is trying to mosh when there's big spaces between people because then you'll go
Right,
flying. But if like
right, for sure, for
if
sure.
you're
Yeah,
constantly bumping shoulders, then you're not getting
for
knocked
sure.
that hard.
Yeah.
But definitely, I've gotten like, I haven't gotten really injured, but I went to the Big Four show in 2011. I don't know if you know the Big Four, the term Big Four for Metallica, Megadeth, Anthrax, Slayer.
You said
The
what?
Big
What's that?
Four, the Big Four of thrash. I don't know if
Oh
you
yeah,
know
yeah,
that
yeah,
term.
yeah, for sure, yeah.
I
I,
went to the
I'm basically seeing the big four in the same maybe. So I'm seeing three of them in September, and I'll be at the Metallica concert next year in February.
oh man, that's so
Yeah,
great live, so great live,
yeah. So
and
I'm,
just
I'm
good
excited
vibes.
about that.
I
Man,
know.
Paul, man, look, we've been talking for
Yeah,
two
it's been a
hours and
minute now.
33
Shit.
minutes. Which I absolutely love the fact that I knew the conversation would go. I knew once we talked about a couple of questions, and then it would just drive the conversation. The idea of me doing this is I want to get to know my community. I want my community to know me. I also want us to have these conversations about metal, so I can learn. Not only, I mean, obviously I'm learn more about metal, but I just want to talk about it some more. I want to talk about it some more. I want to meet cool people. I want to build this community to be um, just one of the biggest communities. Not look, and what you said something very important. If you're in this in the metal reaction channel thing for money, you're in the wrong business because the fact that everything has to be copywritten. It's like you rarely get anything that you can monetize. So if you're in this for the money, that's probably not a good thing to be in this for the money for. So for me build this community, to have this community kind of like bounce off one another, enjoy metal together. I'm on this journey, full out learning everything I can about this journey. I feel good that it's like the bittersweet where it's like I missed so much behind me, but there's so much behind me that I can bring in front of me to
And
experience.
there's also so much to come. There's so many great
There's
artists
so
now.
much, and that's another thing too. I need to do. Maybe I'll do that because I need to do. I started doing my first week of the month themes. I want to
Hmm.
do where I do new bands, not new as in unknown. Nobody knows them at all. Nobody knows anything.
Maybe that
But
could be its own thing, but you just mean
maybe I
like
can.
post 2010, maybe.
Maybe I can do that where I highlight new bands. Yeah, maybe we all should know, and I need to learn. I see. I don't want to. The thing is, I don't want to start doing things where it's
It's
so
just a
much metal for me to
nostalgia
catch up on.
thing.
Yeah, it's so much metal for me to catch up on. Then if I do a week of like maybe local bands, which is cool, and I'm sure it's super talented. Like you said, a lot of dudes doing backyard shows, which are effing amazing, right? But I also want to. I don't want to drive the viewer away, and what I mean by drive the
Yeah,
viewer
yeah,
away
yeah.
is
You don't want to be
not that
too
they're bad
niche,
bands, but not. But sometimes people don't. If people don't know something or don't know a name, they
and
may
they're
not
not
want
gonna
to watch.
watch.
Not watch, right? So how do I find that fine line between everything don't got to be damn Metallica, everything don't got to be the biggest bands in the world, right? But also I need to find those bands where it's like, whoa, he did such and such. I didn't think he would ever do that band. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like so, I'll be if it's okay, Paul. I'll definitely be tapping in with you for help.
we'll
And
we'll, we'll keep in
what I'm
touch,
doing,
brother.
I'm building my council of people I believe to be like very helpful, very cool, and we just gonna grow in metal, and I'm building this community in real life in real time. So also, the fact you brought this up, I don't want to just for you and and I'll say it publicly. This don't have to be an online thing. We can go hang out, get a beer one time, go get something to bite to eat. We can go watch a show or something
Yeah,
because I'm here and I'm loving the genre and the people in it. Then it can't just be online. That's not real to me. I mean, it's real because we're real people online. We're doing what we got to do. But for the most part, hell, if you're in the same city and we hanging out somewhere,
I'm
or
an hour away from you, bro.
bro, where are you? Where are you in?
Palmdale.
Oh shit, yeah, bro, you right down the street. So it's places we can go eat, go hang out, go chill, go catch a
Grill
show.
Mall.
We definitely can do that again. That was
I've
very
only
good.
been there once, and it was so good.
There's a place. Well, technically, it's closer to you, but not as close. There's a place in Glendale um, called it's a rocking spot. It's not Grill 'Em All, but it's not Grill 'Em All. But that would be
Hard Rock
closer to you.
Cafe.
No, it's not. No. It's not. It's a really boutique themed metal spot. But it's it's closer to you
Doesn't
in
matter
Long
where,
Beach
man. It could
is.
be in and out, man.
Yeah. So, but we could definitely continue on that, man, and
I was
hanging
also
out.
wanted to say, man, like, just for shits and gigs, and just to see what will come of it. I saw you said like you stopped making music in 2017 or something.
Yeah, I stopped, but not permanently. I just stopped because of the
Oh,
business. I was a little
I'm
bitter with the business.
I
So
feel that. I
you know,
feel that.
yeah, the
Uh,
business that's why there's a whole other video I did before called, um, you don't always monetize your passion, and that's a whole nother topic. Um,
yeah,
but yeah,
but I was
so
gonna say, like, I've got like pages and pages of beats and stuff like that.
mhm,
You know, to where I throw it your way, and if you have something to say, and if you fuck with it, and also you could tell me like, as somebody that comes from hip hop, you could tell me what hits and what doesn't because
for sure.
it's new to me as a creative in that sort of element. Like
Mhm.
there's so much I need to learn, and so I mean, I could see like making a track just for whatever and trying to like because it's so hard to put
Yeah,
metal elements and hip hop together without becoming a Frankenstein travesty. You know
Right,
what I
right,
mean?
right. Yeah, for sure.
It's it's a
For sure.
it's a very it's a tightrope. But I'm not saying we would have to do that. But even
No,
just
for sure.
straight up hip hop, I would be down for that.
That's why that's why I didn't give
We'll talk
myself
about that. You know what I mean?
for sure. That's why I always give myself the. I would never, even at the time, I wouldn't say I was giving up music forever. It was more
Yeah, but the
so
business is
I
gonna
told
be crushing
myself, yeah, for the business, never for the business, but always if I'm
for
inspired
the
to do
passion.
something, then I'll do it. Yeah, if I'm inspired to do it, then I'll do it. Other than that, I never have a need to do it for no other reason, especially not monetary, because that'll crush me. Because I love rap so much, so I won't do it for that. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, man, we're locked in, bro. In my DM, I'm gonna send you my text so you have my number, and we're locked in. And for the people who are listening, for the people who hung out with us today, thank you. I appreciate y'all. I will be doing this every Sunday. I'll be talking to somebody different, whether it's a guest, whether it's a community member, whether it's a musician, an artist. I want to have these conversations. I want to keep having these conversations to just keep it the camaraderie of community and learn more about metal. It's called
Camaraderie.
yeah, camaraderie, right? To build that community, that camaraderie, and oh, the Discord. Let me get this right real quick.
Oh, while you're getting that, I would be upset at myself if I didn't do this. I wore this shirt because this is my friend's band. They're called Brain Eater.
Oh, dope.
I produced some of their stuff. I just want to put that anybody in there that likes
Dope.
grindy. He calls it toilet metal sometimes. Uh, it's, but it's yeah. I just want to put that there so that way I could be like, hey, bro, I shouted you out, man. But no, this is the
And
same guy that I was in a high school thrash band with, and I just had to
dope.
represent
You
for
said
him.
Brain Eater.
Brain Eater. What a
Brain
name,
Eater.
man.
Dope. I put the Discord link in the chat in the comments. So if anybody who haven't joined the Discord, you can join now. I'd appreciate it. I'm trying to build the community over there too. I'm still getting used to how to navigate the Discord, but I'll figure it out soon. So you can meet me over there, man. But every Sunday we're gonna do Teach Me Metal. We have a new person we're talking to, and we bring back some recurring guests. Trust me, this ain't the last time you see Paul on here. We definitely got a lot of conversation to talk about, a lot of things to go in on. Excuse me, go in
Thanks,
on.
everybody.
So I'm just looking forward to having a great time, build the community, and let's build this channel up and just make dope things. Paul, before we leave, where could they find you? Where can they connect with you at?
Um, you can find me on Instagram. My username is exactly that right there. That's my username on Instagram. And there I have. Oh, what? There I have a link. I make music. It's there's a link to it there. I also produce like mixing, recording and stuff. You know, if just to put that out there. But yeah, I make music. I do music. I'm all music. But yeah, that's it
Yes,
right there.
sir.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
follow him now, man. Follow him, like, and follow him for sure. Because I know Paul got some dope stuff coming up. He doing music, and also do you still play? I'm talking about you might
Yep.
jump in a band here and there.
I have a well, it's like a one man band thing. I play all the
No,
instruments. I do the vocals. It's not metal. It's definitely heavy. It's like
for sure.
I would say it's like indie rock that's like heavier. That's like has some Sabbathy, dark, stuff. If you like old school like old Arctic Monkeys, it's very much inspired by that.
Word. Okay.
It's definitely it comes from a guy that's a very metal's my DNA, and so it bleeds into that. And so it's the name of it is, oh, I don't know how it's neutral, but the U is a V instead. That's how you would find it. That's my
Do you
username.
have do you have
It's on Spotify and everything.
what do you have a Brain Eater a link or something,
That's
or maybe
I mean
this?
it's on oh okay, yeah. Here, let me get links. Where would I
Or
put those links?
I can type it in the chat, or you can type it in the chat too. At least type the app for Instagram in the chat, then that way people can find them.
Oh, the at for Brain Eater.
That way they at least know the Instagram. That's their page. They can find them. But yeah, man. I do appreciate y'all hanging out with us today. Great discussion, bro. Like I said, we dealt with a lot. We covered a lot of ground, and I think this is just the beginning stages of something really really cool. Did you put it in chat?
Um, how would I type in? Let me forget. I.
Or tell me what is it?
Um. Oh, I don't have the at right. Just it's. Oh, I found it. I found it.
Okay. This is IG.
Oh, this I put it in the private chat.
Oh
I don't
shoot.
know
Okay,
how
let me see.
I don't know. I put it in the chat.
Oh, I don't know. Let me see. I can't do it from here. I can't even copy it from here.
Oh, for
Um,
real?
let me see.
Well,
Cause
if I go to YouTube, I can put it in there. Here. I got you.
if they have an Instagram page, that'll be their central hub. That way they can
The
get to anything
Instagram
they need.
page it's long though. Here's the Spotify. I put it in the chat there. The Instagram is Brain Eater ain't nothing to fuck with. uh,
How they spell nothing? They been in you.
it's on you. Yeah, let me find it. Let me go to Instagram. I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, I got you.
Yes, they might. They gonna block it in the chats. Um,
Should I send?
but yeah.
Should I send it to you on Instagram?
Let me see. Yeah. Actually, do that. Yep.
Okay, I'll send it to you on Instagram. I'll send
That
you
way.
Brain Eater, and I'll send you my music link. There's Brain Eater.
Oh, that is it. It's literally what you said.
And
Let me
then
see. Copy profile URL.
and then this is that's mine.
Let me see. Paste. Man, okay. Let me put this in the chat real quick. Let me see. Bam. Hopefully I win it.
You can also like put it in the description after. That's what I saw. Somebody said that in the description of the video.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
Everybody in here is pretty cool. Everybody's really positive and has cool things to say. Hell yeah.
Okay,
You
so
mentioned Havoc. Hell yeah, Havoc sick.
yeah. All right, so
All right.
So yeah, man, thank you, bro. I appreciate you, man. Like I
Love you,
said,
man.
I got I'm gonna send my text to you and your DM, so you have my number, and we can stay connected that way. And for everybody who's online, don't forget to like and subscribe, please. If you haven't liked the video or subscribed, please
Hit
do that
that
before you
bell.
leave. I appreciate that.
Smash that subscribe button.
Please do, it'll help me greatly. I appreciate you guys.
Leave a comment.
And yes, and look forward to. And just because I dropped a live today, you still will have a video. A reaction would be dropping tomorrow. Okay, there's a reaction dropping tomorrow. I'll premiere it today, so you know what group it's going to be. Actually, I'll tell you, it's Ministry. Ministry will be dropping tomorrow. Yeah. So thank y'all. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. We out, Paul. We out. You want to say anything to the people before we out?
Hey, thanks for coming through and pulling up. I think we all love what Lucky's doing here. We appreciate him, and so I'm glad I could be a part of it. And it's a beautiful thing, and can't wait to see where it goes.
I've been kicked out of it. All right, you all, man. We appreciate y'all. Peace, and we out.